What's up?
No, my daughter's in the room. This is just a test, right?
Yeah, just tested. So we're chatting for a second to see how everything works.
Oh, okay. She does want to say hi. Go ahead, you can say hi.
Hi. Howdy.
Inez?
Yes, here. She need one of these. They're saying hi.
Hi, Inez.
Hi.
Hey, how's it going?
I'm good.
Cool. How old are you?
15.
You are just a few years older than my kid. It's crazy how time goes.
She listens to the podcast.
Really?
Some of it, not all of it, but yeah. It's been pretty funny. Some of them.
Yeah,
Rose, Rose, you filter out like some of the things?
No worse than school.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what your mom said.
But okay.
All right. Adios.
Yeah. Go.
I know. I'm like, I need 2 hours alone.
Oh, that's cool. All right. That was fine. I'm gonna check this audio to see if it sounds all right, and then we'll start again later.
All right.
At 9, right?
Yes.
Or
9.
11, Kevin.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
All right, man.
All right. Later. Warning. The opinions expressed on this particular podcast are the opinions of the hosts and the guests alone. They do not represent the Army, the police, or anything else. Simply our opinions, no one else's. Thank you and enjoy before I forget. All right, so 5, 4.
That was not 30
3.
seconds.
Yeah, I don't care. 5, 3, 2, 1. Good. God damn it. 5, 4, 3, 2, and go. Hello, everybody.
Action.
Welcome to our podcast here. Before I forget, I'm Tyree. This is Kevin.
Hello.
And our guest today is Rose.
Hello.
So, Rose, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay. So I was a chemical specialist in the Army. I signed up in 2001, November, after 9/11.
Okay, so after 9/11?
Yeah.
What made you sign up?
Well, like in high school, we had those, recruiters come to your school.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember that, and it stuck with me because you had these soldiers that were like guest speakers, and they were talking about their time in service, and it was like everybody in the class was oblivious. And I was like, to me, it was like, shit, this is going on. And I had like no idea.
How old were you around that time?
My senior year, I was 18.
Okay, so you were
18, 19.
a child still.
Oh, yeah. And then when I graduated, my mom was like, we're getting a new president. Don't join. Wait it out. Let's see what's happening. And so I did. I went to community college, fine arts degree, not really doing much. And then 9/11 happened, and I just felt like, what am I doing? I'm not doing nothing.
All right, it was fucking go time, right?
Yeah.
All right.
And my mom, she was like, no. But then we kind of like got in an argument. It was Thanksgiving Day. And she's like, maybe you should go to the Army. So the very next business day, I was in there signing up.
It's like, you ain't gotta fucking tell me twice.
Just like that.
And I don't think she was serious, but
Now, like after you joined and like you completed the like basic and AIT and like even let's say even in after active duty, like your mom was she obviously your mom was proud of you, but like was she like that
oh
was a
no,
good decision?
oh yeah, she was like even she even after I told her, she threw me a party. Told me she was proud. I mean, yeah. So it was just like that initial like you
The
know
initial shock of it.
yeah, and then 9/11 happened. Like she knows. She's like, you join now. Like
Right.
she
It was the right time. What do you?
yeah,
It's like me and Kevin talked before, like in one of the shows, like a bunch of things happen for a bunch of different reasons.
yeah,
You miss that bus for you to end up at one place, someplace later on down the
Yeah.
line. Just something
Right.
really weird. It's just a bunch of domino effect, butterfly type shit,
yeah. It
and
is.
and that's how it worked out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
man. So and you joined and did you mean to go chemical?
I didn't really have a plan. I honestly didn't. I went to MEPS and they were like, pretty much said mechanic or chemical.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, I know nothing about either of those, but
And to explain, so like in the Army, we have CBRN. Back in the day, it was called NBC, right? So nuclear, biological, and chemical. But now it's CBRN.
oh,
They
okay.
include radiological, chemical,
Yeah.
biological, radiological, and then nuclear. But basically, in the military, you have all these people that work, they're chemical specialists, and it's their job to. I mean, shit, man. Like anything from like decontamination after a chemical attack, or
Recon, smoke,
yeah. Well, so what did you do specifically?
hazmat. So when I got to, well, yeah, when I got to Germany, they put me in a decontamination platoon.
That's right. I remember that now.
Yeah. So
That's off the
Well,
chain.
to
Question.
hang on, back up a little bit though. So Rose, you're from California as well, right?
yes.
Hesperia, that area. You're still in
Yeah.
Hesperia? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm still in Hitsbury.
Are you still at the same house that me and Tyree stopped at and saw you on our way to
Yeah.
Vegas? Yeah.
My mom's house. Yep.
I feel like I could probably remember how to get there. I've only been there once for like 20 minutes.
Well, it's right off the freeway. Like the
Yeah,
15,
right.
you're on your way to Vegas, you get off and boom, you're at my house.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. Tyree, what were you gonna say?
How was basic training for you? How did that go? Where were you at?
I was at Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I've never been to that place, but I hear horrible things about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hate it.
Well,
Is it really that bad?
I went
Yes.
in January.
Mm.
That's when we got there. So it was cold.
Did you have snow?
Yeah, we had snow and we were
Is that
out
your-
in the field like freezing.
Yeah. But that wasn't like your first time to see snow though, yeah.
Oh no, I was born in Washington,
Oh yeah.
So I lived in the snow for the first 5 years.
Yeah. Fort Leonard Wood though, that's a whole other place, man.
Luckily,
Yeah.
I don't know nothing about it, but like I said, I always hear horrible shit about it. Like Fort Leonard, what do they call it? Lost in the Woods.
Lost in the Woods, yeah.
Yeah,
I
that's
mean, don't get me
funny.
wrong, it's pretty scenery up there. It really is, but I'm not a big fan of the base. I don't like how it's set up, and you know. But
I didn't see much of the base.
yeah, I was just gonna say. Well, even in AIT, you didn't get any kind of like passes to go to the PX or anything.
Well, yeah, I did, and then you got to go off for a weekend. So, but that was just like I think we had two weekends that we were able to do that.
Yeah. Well, and I'd say going out in Waynesville and St. Roberts, whatever it is, you only need about one weekend, really just one day to see everything that both of those towns have to offer. Yeah,
It's everything in one shot.
You can knock it out probably in like 3 hours, and that's including going to Uranus chocolate factory or candy factory, whatever shit it is. I can't remember now.
Yeah, I have no idea. I don't think we made it that far out.
It's right there by the interstate. Yeah, it's just like, and actually, it may not even existed back then because you said So early 2002, right?
This was 2002. Yes.
So
Yeah.
while you were freezing your ass off in Fort Leonard Wood, Tyree and I were, well, actually, I was freezing my ass off in Germany, and you were about to get to us because you came into it that field problem late, right?
Yeah, I got
Tyree?
to Germany January 2002. So
Yeah, that's interesting.
yeah,
So Rose, you started basic in January, and then when did you? Do you remember when you completed AIT?
I do. It was the Army birthday.
I don't remember the Army's birthday.
June 14th.
yep,
Is it June or July? June, right?
Yeah,
yeah, I think it's June.
That's the only reason I remember.
yeah.
It felt like a big celebration just for you.
Yeah.
How long? How was the vacation back home until you split for Germany?
Well, just to back up a little bit. So my mom, she worked at the Veterans Home in Barstow. So she took care of a lot of the Vietnam vets and these older vets. And so, and she was really close to them. And once I joined, she shared that with them. And they told her, tell your daughter, no matter what, don't volunteer for anything.
Yeah.
And so, one of the things after basic and IT, they ask you, do you want to go to jump school? Like volunteer, you could do that. And at the time I was like, I want to get the most out of this experience.
Mm-hmm.
But then there was that voice, my mom's voice was like, don't volunteer for anything. So I was like, oh, okay, no, maybe that's not a good idea.
Do
You
you
could have
regret
had
it?
a little bit of extra flair for your little uniform. Not
Yeah,
little
yeah.
uniform, but
I don't regret it because, at the time, I didn't know that I had the mass in my brain.
Yeah.
And with that elevation and jumping out all that pressure, I could have ruptured back then.
So, and I know we haven't even got there yet, but like,
Yeah,
um,
I know. I wanted to like just say that because it affected my memory. So
yeah.
certain things. So after my home military time, in 2012, I found out that I had it's called an archinovenous malformation, and it's a cluster of veins and vessels that form. They don't know how it forms or when it forms. Mine happened to be in the frontal lobe of my brain. So, um, and one day when I was 31, it ruptured. It was actually my mom's birthday.
wow.
Yeah, and so they rushed me down to Loma Linda, the VA Loma Linda, and that was the 4th. On the 10th, I had the surgery.
Jeez.
And after the surgery, I was like 10-second Tom in 51st dates. It
Really?
was just like, yeah, reset. My mom would leave the room. She'd come back and, oh, you're here. I missed you. She's like,
Really?
Rose, I was just here. Yeah.
That's
So,
crazy.
yeah, it was. And it took a while, but, slowly, like things would click. And I remember the doctor would come in, like, who's the president? What's the date? And I couldn't remember certain things, especially the date. The date would always get me. But I started to remember, oh, he's coming in to ask me these questions. And I remember he was coming in. I seen him. I looked at my mom. I was like, okay, what's the date? Who's the president?
That's funny. You're cheating.
Damn, man.
You know,
so
and
it, so it,
it's kind of crazy to think though, Rose, that like so you join the army and you don't know when those clusters were there, right? We don't know they don't know
no,
when they formed.
I
So you join
didn't.
the army, you go through
Yeah,
all that training, you do all that stuff. We deploy to Iraq,
yeah,
um, and then I mean it was still years later after that where you know what I mean. It's crazy.
yeah, it is. And
Yeah.
to think that, because I would feel so like looking back, I start to recognize certain things like clues that something was wrong. Like anytime I did cardio, I could feel like pressure in a very specific spot in my head,
Hmm.
Hmm.
and that's why I was always like, you know, I couldn't max out PE because the running and this thing in my head. No, I'm just
Right.
I had short legs, so
I was gonna say that's a good excuse to not get a 300 on your PT
yeah.
test.
Shit, well, I have no excuse. I'm sorry. Goddamn.
Not like that anyway.
Not like that, man. Shit.
No,
I had
but
no. I mean, that's incredible
I
that they figured it out. You know,
I
some
could
people don't.
feel
They
it.
never. Yeah, they never figured it out in some cases.
Yeah, they say when it happened to me, like I said, I was 31, and they say usually it'll happen in your 20s, and that's when I was downrange. That's when I was in Iraq.
Mm-hmm.
So I was just thinking, like, dude, if it happened back then, I'd be screwed, you know. And so, so it affected my memory. So, like certain like names, I will forget names in it. You know, I listen to you guys talk. I listen to your podcasts, and you guys just know these names, and you remember. And I'm just like, I wish I could remember these guys' names, the ones I served with. You know,
Yeah.
like, and I'm just like, for the life of me, I can't. I
don't.
try to go back.
I don't remember. I mean, I don't remember a lot of the folks that were in your unit, but I mean, the only person I remember is Anne.
Yeah, well, she was my best friend. Yeah.
Yeah, and actually, in thinking about it, like all the times we hung out, I don't remember ever really hanging out with anybody from your unit. You either hung out with me and the guys from my
Yeah.
unit, or you and Anne.
Yeah.
So
Pretty much.
maybe you don't remember them because you just didn't hang out with them.
I think that too. But no, even when I'm downrange, like, well, we'll get to this part, but I was like the first almost half of the deployment, a little bit all the way up till when I got promoted, I was in the talk with the, you know, first sergeants and captains and the sergeant major. I can't remember any of their names.
Dang.
And yeah, and I'm like, served that much time. And like, these guys were awesome. Like, you know,
So to this day,
so
you don't remember their names?
no, and I try to go back, you know, I try to look them up and I'm like, especially like I know it's coming on, I'm like, okay, how do I find out their names so I don't like,
Yeah.
but I couldn't.
Wow.
Well,
Like,
Anybody listening, man, if you know you
Yeah.
guys were in the same unit, like
Oh,
hook us
yeah.
up with that information. Tell us
what
what.
I
unit were you
know.
with, Rose?
Well, I was with 701st Main Support Battalion, 12th Chemical Company in Germany,
Where in
Um,
Germany?
Kitzingen, Germany.
Kitzingen.
Yeah.
I love that little town.
It was so cool.
I
That's
miss it.
where,
Yeah.
I know.
The Dracula's heart.
Yes.
Yeah.
The cemetery.
Yep.
Yeah, that was really cool.
Oh, that
Sorry.
was the place where I got my tattoo. The
Yeah.
jackass got me that tattoo, man. I tell you what, it should be its own fucking show. Never get a tattoo from a guy with no tattoos. It ain't gonna work out for you.
That happened to me too.
I got my first tattoo there too.
The same
Oh.
shop, the one around the corner from that cemetery?
That's where I got my
Probably,
flames.
yeah.
Motherfucker.
Like, no lie, dude. Like, I don't know if you remember, but like the flames I have on my left arm,
Yeah.
on the left forearm. So
Mhm.
when I first got them, it was by a German tattoo artist who did not have tattoos, didn't see a single one on them, and I chalked it up to language barrier. But then I thought about it, I was like, well, this guy doesn't have tattoos either. So I'm sitting there trying to explain like what I want to him, and it just doesn't work out. Like I had to go back to another guy in Kitzingen who was a German American, spoke English, and he did mine and fixed it. And then as soon as he was done, he was like, "Now you're a famer." I'm like, come on.
Oh, man. Yeah, all right.
Yeah, right. You did it. But no, do you remember of Dracula's heart there in Kitzingen, Tyree?
No.
No.
So
Sorry.
there's a tower in the center of town, near the center of town, and so all it is like a tower, like a tower made out of rock, like you would find like a castle, right? And on the very top of this tower, there's a gold ball, like the top of a flagpole, right?
And legend has it.
Yeah. So the legend says that Dracula's heart is in this gold ball, and if it should ever fall on his body or towards his body or near his body, then Dracula would be resurrected. Well, what's crazy about that is the graveyard just across the street from it, at approximately the same distance as that tower is tall, is a gravesite that's like, it's the only one in that cemetery that's like sealed off with like iron cages.
Yeah, and locked.
And like, dude, I'm like, do you remember the art on it, Rose? Like, they were like, it was like,
I have pictures of it. Yeah.
Do you really?
Yeah.
Send me those because I can't find. I used to have pictures. I can't find them, but it would be like it was like this guy like floating in like this like demonic place, but like also like these little baby angels.
Yeah.
It was crazy. It was weird.
And the tower
Well,
like leaned as well.
yeah. So the tower was actually leaning that direction. It had these inverted crosses all over it
Yeah.
as windows. Yeah, pretty neat story.
That's some of that crazy ass European Dracula type stuff I ain't trying to mess with, man. I remember the story. I remember seeing the ball. He's like, every year it leans a little bit more. I'm like, man,
Yeah. you think by now, man.
Y'all just be hanging out around here.
Just
any second, Dracula could just pop up out
Yeah.
of wherever it's around. And y'all are just sitting here having your tea and crumpets or whatever.
Nah,
man.
England, but
whatever. Croissants and whatever.
Okay. People listening right now, pull up your phone and just Google Kitzigen, Dracula grave. Kitzigen is spelled Kitzingen, Dracula grave. There's pictures on there. It is crazy. And you can also see that tower. But
Rose, you really enjoyed your time in Kitzingen.
Germany, like the country, beautiful. I thought it was beautiful, and I absolutely loved Germany, but the military.
Yeah.
When I first got to Germany, I don't know, I think I was home after AIT for like 2 weeks?
Yeah, probably that.
Yeah, something like that. And then I got to Germany, but I actually missed my flight.
To Germany?
Yeah, because after AIT, I made them fly me into Vegas because I wanted to fly out of Vegas, which was a bad idea.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
The night before, me, my brother, and my mom all go to Vegas. And we're at the club partying, and my older brother ends up getting kicked out of the club. And so, it was like the funniest story. So then we go back to the hotel room, and I was like, oh shit, I gotta leave in an hour. So like grab my stuff, grab my ticket, head over to the airport, running, make my flight. But then I had to, and I think it was Texas or somewhere, another state, I had a connecting flight. I had to get off and get up. I didn't have my other ticket.
Oh, dang.
Yeah, I was like, shoot. So contacted whoever I had to contact, spent the night in, what is that place? The USO?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
And the next day got on a different flight, went to Germany.
You went from party in Vegas to damn near missing the flight, missing the flight to landing in Germany.
Yeah.
That's a good start.
Yeah.
Hey,
yeah, it's a hell of a start.
So that's cool. I kind of want to point out so the podcast is called Before I Forget, and like you mentioned earlier, with the brain rupture, right? That you did forget a lot of things, and so I'm kind of wondering and / hoping that like talking about the stuff with us and like having it on here will be a thing, because I mean I kind of wonder like if some like just listening to our stories, is that even like
oh yeah, it made me like really think back, and I have to say everything in chronological order, otherwise but it made me think back, like even hearing your guys' voices, like I was just like, damn, just like a flashback, brings you right back.
It does.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Every time I hear Kevin's voice, I get nauseous though.
Yeah, same.
Nauseous, like, oh god.
Yeah. No, I hear you, man. Every time I hear my voice, it's the same thing. So you got to Germany in basically around July 1st, July 4th of 2002, right?
Yeah, around that time. I don't remember the exact date, but yeah, around that time.
I mean, I was just doing like, so if you graduated AIT June 14th, and then 2 weeks probably back home for leave. Did you do hometown recruiting during that?
I did. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I got that extra week.
Yeah.
And he
And
was really cool because he was like, go home, enjoy your time. If I need you, I'll call you.
oh,
And
that's
I
cool.
think
Yeah.
I think he called me one time because he wanted me to share my time in basic with another person that was thinking about joining.
So you got
Okay.
called up for one time to, hey
Yeah.
man, basic training, it was cold and it sucks. Don't go chemical. Have a good one.
It could have backfired pretty hard in your face. Huh?
No. So yeah, it was a good time.
When you got there, so we were deployed to Kosovo at that time. We didn't come back till mid-November, I believe. And what was there anybody from Kitzigan, that base there, that was deployed to Kosovo as well? I can't remember who all went on that.
I think so. Because there was like a group of people that ended up. I knew they were somewhere, but I didn't really know them. So, and then they came back like months later or something like that.
Yeah, so they're
But
probably in Kosovo with us.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and
Yeah, that makes sense.
I don't even know his actual name, which sucks. But one of the guys that would like always, he was just crazy. One of the crazy guys.
Mm-hmm.
Um, we called him Bamo, but I have no idea what his real name is.
I remember that
Yeah.
name.
I was gonna say I remember that name too.
Huh.
He had this chicken outfit costume that he would dress up in. Like he was just crazy. He was, the coolest guy, but he was,
Yeah.
that life of the party guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
But
what
I
was
think he was out there because
yeah.
he came back later.
So what was life in Germany like for you when you got there? Both in Germany and then like making friends, all that stuff, and then
Yeah.
also army wise.
Honestly, when I first got there, it sucked.
Really?
Yeah, I got into second platoon and my squad leader, I was just getting there, didn't know anything, naive, and my squad leader was a piece of shit.
Yeah.
To put it lightly. Um,
That's putting it lightly.
you
You suck, motherfucker.
you have them in the military. They're just those guys.
Yeah.
And he was one of them. He told me he wanted to take me to Paris. He's like,
Oh, he was one of those kind of dudes.
Yeah.
Sleazy
And
motherfucker. Okay.
Damn.
like beyond. And so I was having a really hard time. I didn't know anybody. What do I say? He was an E6, I think. I know, he was, so I just didn't know how to deal with that. And there were times where he would come in the middle of the night banging on my barracks door.
Jeez.
Telling me to let him in. And I wouldn't. I was like, if you need to come in, go get CQ because I'm not opening my door.
It's the smart thing to say and do.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, smart.
And I remember I was also doing the driver's ed or driver training for
To get your European driver's license?
Yeah. Well, the military one and like the Germany license. And do you remember that was like 100 questions?
It was a long test.
Yeah. And then you could only miss like 3.
Yeah, no, it
or
was
something
insane.
like that.
Yeah, it was insane. But that pales into comparison to like what the Germans have to go through because it's like a year long of studying and like classes and driving and stuff. I think they have to pay like €2,000 just to get their license. Whereas like we just show up, take this 100-question test, and we're bitching about that because like my driving test when I got my license when I was 16 was like 30 questions, and you could miss 29 of them. Like, you're probably fine. It's Arkansas, man. Have at it.
Well, I'm over here studying for this, and he kept telling me, like, you're coming, because he lived off base. He was like, you're going to come to my house and study. And I was like, no, I'm not. Like, I didn't care. I was just like, no, I'm not. And I would like, he's like, yes, you are. If you fail, you're coming. I'm like, I'm not. Like, I study better alone. And I was just like, I better not fucking fail this.
Yeah, right.
And I just
Jeez.
didn't know how to deal with it. Like, I was, one, didn't know how to talk about emotions. I grew up with two brothers, you know, so it's like nothing about talking about your feelings.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so I just internalized it, and I really started to drink. That's when I really, you know,
Yeah.
started to drink a lot more than I ever did.
Pick up coping
And
mechanisms.
yeah, and still didn't really, know anybody or have any real friends. And one day I remember um, I was, I called home and I was talking to my mom, and I was like, drinking, and she's on the phone with me, and she even heard him that night. He ended up coming, banging on my door, and I was telling him, like, go away, leave me alone. And my mom was on the phone, and she could hear, and she's like, I'm not leaving the phone.
It's gotta be terrifying, man.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And I remember, 6 o'clock rolls around, and I have to go to PT formation, and you could smell the alcohol. I go out there, and there's the assistant squad leader who's an E5, and I see him, and he comes over, and I just went off. I was like, fuck this. This is not the fucking army I thought I was joining. And he could have easily have right then and there taken me to the company or MP station, had me take a breathalyzer, and I would have been done for.
Yeah.
But he was also being with another female soldier, lower enlisted. Like, you see all this.
Wow, it was dirty shit. Well, you know
Yeah.
what? We're infantry dudes. We're not around that
Yeah.
kind of stuff specifically.
Yeah.
We're
Ours
always
was,
hearing about somebody's wife doing something wild or some crazy
Yeah.
stuff like
Right.
that, which I would never, I don't know nothing about that. But,
yeah.
it,
But
it's just, it's crazy.
yeah. And I think that, I think that saved me because he knew he was in the wrong. So instead of doing that, he goes, go to your room, take a shower, and be at the company at 9 o'clock. Because I just, like, I went off, like, you could tell, like, I just couldn't, you know. And so I did. And when I went back to the company at 9 o'clock, they basically sent me to the chaplain. And they thought, like, I was going to hurt myself or something.
Jeez.
And so talking to the chaplain, telling him what was going on, he sent me to a psychiatrist. So I'm talking to these people. I'm telling them what's going on. And nothing's really being done about the squad leader. They're just telling me, go talk to this person. So it was good and it was bad. Like, yeah, I was now being separated from the platoon. So I had to go see a psychiatrist, telling the psychiatrist what's going on. What can I do? And she basically said, like, well, you can get out if you can't adjust to the military life.
What the fuck, man?
Man, I would have flipped the table. Like, okay.
On a 5150.
Mm.
Like, not even just like regular whatever. No, I had to claim that I was mentally unstable to get out. And I was
Jeez,
just
man.
like, no, like, that's on my DD 214. That's permanent. Like, no, I didn't do all this just so that this, piece of shit.
Yeah.
And so I was like, no, I just have to stick it out. So the company was actually going field training. And so it was like super cold. We were already there, months. So it was like winter time. And the psychiatrist was like, well, I'm going to have it so that you don't have to go to that. And I was like, okay. I don't want to go anyway. And so while the company was out there, I was stayed back, did whatever around the company office. And And when they did come back, they were all pissed because like their heaters didn't work out there. So they were like all bitching and moaning about the training.
Oh yeah.
And so he came back and put me on every shit detail, extra duty that came our way. He was like, Contreras, go. And I remember too, which turned out to be a good thing. Like each platoon had to send a soldier to go to, what is it, the box? It's like Grafenwehr or something like that.
Yeah, Grafenwehr and Hohenfels.
Yeah. And we were tasked to, I really didn't know until I got there. We had to be drivers for, like I was drivers for the Spaniard soldiers that came to cross train with us. And those guys were cool. Like they were really cool. I think there was like about five of them. And I was just glad to be away from the platoon.
Yeah.
Like I was in the box for a month and I didn't mind.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's really fucking terrible that you would have to go through that. Coming into the Army off the bat, you're just dealing with
my
that.
first experience, yeah. And
I would like to say that has changed in the Army, but it hasn't. I know several female soldiers, like through their even their initial entry training, like through AIT and stuff, who went through similar cases or worse, right? Were actually, sexually harassed or assaulted, and instead of proper punishment on the assaulter, the victim was just completely removed from the scenario, and in some cases even just removed from the Army for similar reasons, saying that they were not mentally fit.
Yeah.
That
I got labeled a bad soldier.
Yeah, that shit is still happening today.
Like, you don't understand what the hell happens to the mind when the body's conquered by somebody else, without permission. Yeah. It's fucking crazy. And personally, I've never, in the Army, I've never dealt with that kind of thing. But really thinking about the lifestyle I was living at that point and what you were dealing with at the exact same time it's eye-opening, man. Yeah, you got to think like the worst thing that we had to deal with was like getting smoked or, what I'm saying, like getting too drunk and going to formation and getting in trouble or getting beat up somewhere. But like all of that pales in comparison to, the guy who's in charge is supposed to be looking out for me, trying to pull some wild shit.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that's just like not even a special, I'm sure that happens a lot. Yeah, not an isolated case. Yeah.
And I don't know if that's like, because you guys are an all-male unit, you guys are more like brothers, so you don't have to deal with that. So,
no, I'm saying we get that. I mean, it's just fucking crazy that is what's going on with somebody I directly knew. Because again, at that time, all I knew was my Army friends, and I didn't know like. I mean, I might have met you at this point. Yes.
No.
Yeah, y'all didn't meet until probably
February of the next year, 2003.
Yeah. Well, see, it shows what I remember.
Yeah. But when I was in the box with these Spaniards, this is like the first time I ever felt like embarrassed that I didn't know Spanish.
So hang on, Rose, because I want to. The first time I met you.
No, we're not there yet. We are not.
No, I know. Okay.
I have to say it in chronological order, but yes, I do want to.
I do want to point this out, right? So your name is, Rose Contreras, right?
Rosa Contreras.
Yeah, right. And so the first time Rose and I met, we were at the Labyrinth in Würzburg, And we started talking, and I asked her name, and it's loud in there. She leans in close to my ear, and she says her name with the accent, and I'm like, I'm a sucker for accents, and and come to find out, she was tricking me.
She was putting it on thick.
She didn't know Spanish.
And as soon as she got them digits in her head, she was like, all right.
Yep.
She was like, yeah, all right.
Yeah, I did it.
Yeah.
God.
That was not intentional.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
You knew your game. You knew your
Okay.
game.
Yeah, we'll play. We'll play too.
Yeah. You picked that up from the Spaniards. They're like, listen, your name is
Yeah,
Rose.
that's what the first thing they seen on my uniform, Contreras. So
And
they were like, once they seen that, oh, beautiful Spanish name. It's a Spaniard, and they're like, I was like, oh my gosh. I just felt like so small. Like the first time I was just like, and I had to be like, no, I don't speak Spanish. They were like, what? Like they looked at me.
Probably the same look I gave you.
Yeah.
The treachery.
I know, man. God, Rose, you got me.
Yeah. No, but honestly, like I had fun in the box that whole month. I mean, I did get chewed out once because I didn't salute an officer. But I'm like, we're in the box. Isn't this training for being out like in the field?
Yeah.
Like I didn't know you still salute out in the field. So I was
we had a thing developed. I think it kind of first started when we were in Kosovo, and then a little bit in Iraq. So you're in these like no salute zones, right?
Yeah.
Because we don't know where bad guys are and what kind of
right.
weaponry they have. And actually, I think this comes from a movie, but like occasionally you would find those officers, generally young lieutenants, that demanded they be saluted.
Yeah.
And I believe it was Love who started doing it, but he would just salute and say, "Sniper check, sir." And kind of puts it into perspective as to why you have no salute zones. But obviously in the box and Hohenfels, like probably no real snipers out there. But training is training, right? Train is your fight. So yeah.
So that's my first experience with being like chewed out.
Yeah.
And,
you know what? Somebody who would strike me as somebody who would chew people out like that, an officer. And I literally wouldn't name names normally, but I am now. Captain Ocasio. He seems like the kind of dude that would be like,
yeah,
you didn't salute me. Like, those kind of guys. Like,
all butt hurt.
Yeah. If he hears it, well, and I'm not gonna say that. Never mind.
Yeah,
save that one for rainy day.
Listen. By this point, man, because I think we've talked about a couple of scenarios with him in previous episodes, and so if he does listen to this, he should by now know how we felt about him that year. And absolutely, I have to say thank you to Captain Ocasio for not taking us to Iraq.
Yes.
And thank you, Captain Rockefeller, for being our, saving commander and just an all-around badass dude. But anyway, we're not talking about them.
That's neither here nor there.
Yeah. So after the month in the box with the Spaniards and them being all upset that you don't speak Spanish, even though you're a Contreras, and you're a tiny little Hispanic lady, right?
I was the most I maxed out throughout my whole military career was 117.
Yeah.
That was my max.
So tiny. And how tall are you? Like 5'2", right?
I'm 5'1".
I was giving you an inch.
Yeah, I'll take it.
In army boots, you're 5'2".
And how tall are you?
6'2".
Yeah, so that was a good mix.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So
how did you see over the steering wheel?
And I was the driver. Like,
now I'm thinking about it now. I've been driven by you once or twice. You're a good driver, but how did you see over the wheel? You're a tiny person.
I was one of those people that scoot the chair all the way up to the steering wheel.
Yeah.
So that when the airbag goes off, it just blows your damn head off.
Yeah.
It's that, or just don't be able to see.
Yeah. All right. Well, you figured it out. Yay! You got it. You did it.
So after that month with the Spaniards, you go back to kits again, back to your unit and all that stuff. Do you remember about when that was? What time frame?
No. See,
No,
that's where the memory thing, like,
gotcha.
I know it happened this way. I just don't remember,
Do you
like,
remember what rank you were with this when you were with the Spaniards?
oh no, I was a private. Like,
Like E1,
well,
E2?
yeah. And while I was with second platoon, they did nothing to try to promote me. They did nothing to, like, well, especially the squad leader, he did nothing to try to, like, mold me into the
Mm-hmm.
soldier that,
Yeah.
um, and so it was just a really bad experience when I first came in. And I don't remember, like, much of, because I think, like, I'm not exactly sure even when we got our orders saying we were going to go to um,
Iraq.
Turkey,
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
because it was supposed to be like Turkey. We're going to go into Turkey instead
Mm-hmm.
of what was it, Kuwait instead.
Right.
But
Yep.
so we had to build these boxes to put stuff in out in the motor pool, freezing cold, and I'm out there because this is the shit detail that while
Yeah.
other people are being rotated, I'm out there all day, you know. And so, stuff like that I remember. But again, I'm not sure on what the time frame was at.
Well, if it was cold, it was winter.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah. So, all right then. So, and then so 2003 rolls around, and I don't know if you
Yeah,
listened in previous episodes, but for us, 2003, like we definitely knew that we were deploying the next year. We just didn't know exactly when, that
yeah,
year or the next year. And we
yeah,
talk about how 2003 was kind of a wild year for us. With all the things that we were doing. That's when you and I met. It was in, you said February 03.
yes. February of, but I
Yeah.
think so during, hold on, before we meet, during that time after, like, we got, I think, we're hearing that we're going to Turkey, we're getting ready. And what's it called when you send a platoon, um, like they're going ahead of the company, like they're getting deployed?
Advon.
Yeah. So
Mhm.
there was a platoon, fourth platoon, that was assigned to do that. They were getting ready to go do that. Um, but they weren't like a complete platoon. So they were cross training with other platoons. And when they were done, like, they came with us and we were training with them. And when we were done training, they asked for any volunteers to join their platoon to go deploy ahead of everybody else.
Okay.
And there was my mom's voice again saying, don't volunteer for anything. And for a split second, I just was like, I'm sorry, Mom, but I need to get out of this platoon.
Mm.
Best decision of my military career. Hands down, that decision, best of my military career.
Yeah.
Volunteer, immediately put my hand up, got out of that platoon.
Wow.
And it was like, still, because it wasn't like, oh, that second I'm in fourth platoon. Like, it took a week for me to, get
Transfer over.
transitioned.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I remember seeing my squad leader go up to fourth platoon sergeant, and I was just like, this piece of shit is just talking shit about me. I knew it. And I was just like, I'm just so mad. I just had this rage, I was getting so angry. And as soon as the first day I was with fourth platoon, and my platoon sergeant, Sergeant Moore, I love that guy, give my life for that guy. He told me, I don't care about anything that's happened. You show me who you are, your character from this point on.
Nice.
And joining that was, his platoon was like what I thought the military was going to be. Like, just everybody, I got promoted. He told me what I had to do. And by the time that we left to Iraq, I was a specialist.
Yeah,
And
I remember you were doing a ton of like correspondence courses and stuff.
yeah,
Yeah, trying to get promoted to trying to get to your E5.
That's right. I remember you being a specialist, and I'm like, wow, she ranked up really quick. Yeah, no. I actually thought that you were in the army longer than us because you had ranked up so quickly.
And I'm older.
Yeah, that too. I didn't want to go there, but
Not by
Jesus.
much.
I
Not by
didn't look
much.
it. I didn't look it. I was this tiny little thing. Still probably like 16. But yeah, that was best decision of my military career. Um
That's
and
awesome though, man. So like that's shit that's good to hear, man. And
yeah,
it's NCOs like Sergeant Moore that
yes.
the Army needs more of because I mean because you got to think, man. Whoever you were, even if you were a shitbag soldier in one platoon, when you change over and you have new leadership, that's a new opportunity for
Yeah.
you to show, okay, like no, I can be right. And so Sergeant Moore taking that route and being like, look, man, I don't care what people say about you. Show me who you are.
Yeah.
I mean, that's how it should be.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so that's about because I remember being in platoon when we met.
Mm-hmm.
So February when we met, I was already in fourth platoon.
All right,
So yeah,
so hold on a sec. We're going to take a quick little break
Uh-huh.
and come right back and get into when you guys met and all that kind of cool guy stuff. That's
yeah.
all right. We'll be right back on Before I Forget.
Hey, Tyree,
Hey, what's up?
you have a podcast, right?
Yeah, I have a podcast. It's called Before I Forget. It's on every Monday and Thursday morning.
Did you know about Anchor?
Yeah, I know about Anchor. That's what we use to distribute our podcast.
Did you know that it has tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer?
Yeah, I knew about all that stuff, and we use it every single time for every single show for editing, right on our phone and right from our computer.
Did you know you can distribute your podcast on different listening platforms?
Yeah, we knew about that. We use Anchor to distribute our podcast to Apple Music, Spotify, and tons of other different platforms everywhere across the world.
Did you know that Anchor is free?
Yeah, I knew it was free because if I had to pay to use stuff, I wouldn't use it. Before I forget, here with Kevin and Rose. Rose will be on here in a second. But that's pretty interesting, man. Learning about the her brain injury.
Yeah, man.
I had
That
no
was
clue. I had no clue.
I didn't find out about it until sometime later. She and I have been in and out of contact over the years, but yeah, pretty wild, man.
Yeah. And on top of that, dealing with all the wild sexual craziness, harassment going on in her platoon.
Yeah, that's a whole other mess, man.
That'll make you not even want to deal with it, man.
I'll tell you what,
I understand
man.
why people would not want to hang out and stick around for that kind of shit and take that medical way out.
Dude, if I had a daughter, I would strongly advise against joining the military.
Ah, man, that's the thing though. Like you have to give them the the opportunity to make their own choice when it comes to that.
No, true.
You might at some point raise a strong little girl that's like all about that shit.
No, true. I mean, that's also why, like, going throughout their, growing up, they would definitely be in jiu-jitsu.
At the very least, learn how to gouge an eye out.
Hell yeah, man.
But that sucks that she had to go through that. And I'm glad that she's not here right now. We can kind of talk about it. That's man, that's out of control. Like I'm bummed out that she had to fucking deal with that. I really am.
Yeah, and you think, man, like that's the reality for a lot of women in the military. I mean, some males too, for sure, but mostly a lot of women in the military.
I'm here.
Rose, you made it.
I know. Took me a second.
Welcome back. All right, so we're gonna pick right back into it.
So February 2003.
Yes.
I remember that year.
Yes. So now I had made a friend.
Yeah. Well, one friend.
And her name was Anne. Yeah, she was my best friend, battle buddy, tall as well.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when she introduced me to the Labyrinth in Würzburg.
Yeah. Yeah, we used to go there all the time. Like we were, so for us, to get to Würzburg, it was, a taxi to the train station and then ride the train station down to Würzburg. And I think the last train would drop you off at like 9 p.m. And then the first train to get back to Schweinfurt was like at like 5 or 6 in the morning. So we knew that if we were going to the Labyrinth, we were going to be there until 6 in the morning
Yeah.
from 9 at night. So we were definitely closing down the bar. We're opening and closing down the club. It was,
Yeah.
Oh
yeah.
my God. That sounds like a fucking nightmare.
No, man, it was, I mean,
No, it
you gotta
was
think.
good.
Yeah, no, it was great. Because I
Yeah.
mean, we were drinking at the time. We were drinking I was drinking like double Jaeger Red Bull or double vodka Red Bull or whatever. So a ton of Red Bull going into your system, man. You're wired. That's probably why I don't have a caffeine sensitivity now.
How long did it take you to get from Schweinfurt to Würzburg?
It was about a 30-minute train ride.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think
Yeah.
we were a lot closer because we just took a taxi over there and didn't take that long.
Yeah, for sure. Well, you remember there was the one night that the three of us were out in Würzburg and you drove us back.
Yeah,
You
but
were
that had to
not.
be later because if I had a
Yeah,
car, that was way later.
yeah, that was definitely way later. It was shit, Tyre. Do you remember when that was? It was pre-Iraq.
It had been like right towards the end of 2000. Well, I'm sorry. The end of 2003.
Yeah, the end of 2003, probably. Yeah, or beginning of 2004 even.
Yeah, that's possible.
But
yeah.
let's go back to when the night
Oh
we
yeah,
met.
chronological. Stay in order. We can't jump around.
I
Yeah.
can't.
All right.
But
So the night we meet,
I'm
we're
at
at
the bar.
Würzburg.
I'm at the bar, and Anne's on the dance floor.
Of course.
And I'm just, my drink was Jack and Coke back then, so I'm just having a drink. And this guy comes up to me and starts, he sits next to me and starts talking to me. Short guy, white guy. Not that that really matters, but
right.
But and just talking about whatever, and mainly like the music. And I was just like, wasn't really like giving him too much attention. And he's like, yeah, I really like Tool. Like, that's what I remember him saying, because I was like, oh, Anne loves Tool. Like, that's her favorite band,
Do I
And
know who this guy is?
you should, because he was
Okay.
there with you.
Yeah.
Because I remember you were like, you in the first episode, you were saying you didn't remember who you were with. Well, this is the guy you were with.
Yeah, Mez.
And yes, now that you said his name.
Jeff, yeah, he was obsessed with Anne.
And well, that first night, he was like basically hitting on me. And I was just like, so we went and we sat. They had this like little sitting area. And we were over there, and you were sitting next to Anne. I was sitting next to this guy. And he's trying to talk to me, and I just wasn't feeling it. I was just looking at you.
Oh, man.
So then we're like, okay, it's getting late. We're going to go. And he was like, well, why don't we meet up tomorrow night? Like, we'll be here. And it's like, okay. So me and Anne get in a taxi, and I look at her. I was like, I'm not feeling this guy. Like, do you want to switch? And she was like, yeah, sure. So that's what ended up happening. The next day we go over there, and she basically, cock blocked him and like.
Oh, man. What's funny about that is now so you're right. It was Mez, and one thing that I remember, it may have been after that first night, because he was like, so man, hey, I think we had a chance at either one of them, man. Which one do you want? And I was like, guy, because if I remember right, like I mean, I may have been talking to Ann, but I don't necessarily remember being into Ann. I just thought she was cool. But I like, I feel like I had my eyes on you, and so like, and I feel like I can tell, and maybe I think Ann even might have told me like, yeah, I don't think she's into him. Like, yeah, I can see that. So when he asked me that, I was like, come on, man, get the fuck out of here. You're just here. Yeah.
But,
He had such high hopes.
but
I know, man.
but was he not married?
At the time, I don't think so. No, I don't know. I really don't remember.
Because
Um,
later, I think I remember Anne telling me like she found out he was married
Oh,
or something like that, and
well,
so she was like pissed. And
that's
I
a
was,
that's also a thing that happens in the army a lot.
yeah.
So
So it could be, I don't know. That's, my memory is not great, but that's kind of what.
We got to compare pictures and figure this out.
yeah, for sure. And it's really funny that that you describe him as a short guy, being that you're 5'1", and
Was he not short?
yes, no, he is a very short dude. And what makes that even more funny is the fact that Anne she was like 5'8", 5'9".
Yeah. Yeah, she was
Yeah,
tall.
tall, blonde.
Yeah. Beautiful. Like,
Yeah, right. And then him, like a little, like Matt, looking like him. I don't know if he listens, so I'm not gonna say much, but
Hey,
yeah.
Maz
So,
was a fucking handsome dude. Okay, he's just short. That's all. Just short, and he had a weird mustache.
for a little while he did, yeah.
But past that,
he did.
he was an all right dude. All right,
Yeah.
dude.
All right, man.
He's
I
okay.
just wasn't feeling him.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, he just couldn't. He was too short to ride the ride.
Yeah, when there's a Johnson nearby. I'm just kidding. So yeah, you
Treachery.
you say your name in my ear,
Yeah.
with the accent, and like
Rosa.
immediately I'm sold. You know what I mean? I'm like, oh damn, all right then. Like my nipples got perky, hair stood up on the back of my neck, the whole nine. You know what I mean? I was like, okay. So you got to keep in mind also, Rose. I mean, so I'm from small town Arkansas, and by this point, I mean I had a couple girlfriends when I was in high school, and I think I dated one or two chicks from Germany. But like I was fairly inexperienced at all the things when it comes to relationships and like how to get hit on by chicks, or even how to pick up one, or all of that stuff. I had no fucking clue what the hell was going on. I just know that you said your name in my ear, and I was done.
Well, I never had a boyfriend before you. You were You were my first boyfriend.
Well,
oh wow! Look at that! Look what you learned.
Yeah.
All right, you did.
No, I didn't. I don't think I knew that. Yeah, because I remember. I don't think I knew that because I feel like I remember you being fairly experienced.
Fairly
in some capacities.
Well, I wasn't innocent. I just never had a boyfriend.
Oh right, yeah. Well, I don't mean just that, but I mean just the whole thing. But
yeah.
That's I don't guess I ever knew that.
No, never. I mean, I had two brothers, an older one and younger one. And my older brother.
And you didn't date either one of them, right?
No. But my older brother, he was, started off wrestling, went from wrestling to boxing to kickboxing to jiu-jitsu to grappling, and even did cage fighting. Like he would, so like boys just didn't call me.
Right. Yeah.
High school was just, I was always the third wheel. Everybody knew my brother. So it was like nothing ever happened. And then, yeah, so I was the only girl.
Yeah. Well, I can see that causing problems in the dating scene.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Especially when you got brothers like that.
Yeah. But so yeah, you were my first boyfriend. But I was not a virgin. I'm not saying that. So.
No. You heard it here, folks.
Yeah.
On the record. Yeah, and so and we dated for pretty much all of 2003.
2003. Yeah.
Yep. And then did some exploring in Germany.
Yeah, that was
Um,
fun.
and we went to the Netherlands, and that was a pretty fun trip. You know, I think one of the one thing. Well, I remember a lot of things about that trip, but like the one of the things that I remember that I tell people about all the time is, you remember that little cathedral that we went into?
Yes.
Yeah,
And
I
it
wish
was
it.
like it was in the middle of nowhere. It's like,
Yeah,
you know, just stores, 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 and they're all like cramped together. And then all of a sudden there's
modern
this
looking.
beautiful cathedral, like
Hmm.
out of nowhere.
These wooden doors, and you know, we were like, well, that's weird, and we go in, and as soon as the doors close, I remember all of the sound from
Yeah.
like all the people walking by and shopping and all that stuff, just dead silence.
Yeah.
And the lady standing at the podium was like, shh, and she was, you know, whispering, and we were reading the sign that said like this was built in like the 1300s or the 13th century, whenever it was. I wish I could remember what it was called, because I would look it up again. I had something to do with the canary, but I don't remember. But everything in there was made out of wood, like
Yeah.
the obviously like the pews, the floors, wooden planks. Even the altar was carved out of
So
wood.
intricate. Yeah.
Mhm.
Beautiful.
It was crazy. I couldn't tell you how long we sat there, but
Not that long. I don't think it was that long actually.
no, I mean it probably wasn't. But like with the silence and everything, it just felt like it was just a
Yeah,
long time.
because we were Americans, so we were loud and they asked us to leave. I think that's what
Yeah,
happened.
probably.
Damn,
And
they kicked
but
y'all out the
yeah,
damn
kicked out
Lord
of
of
the
the
church.
Rings,
Yeah.
Harry Potter. I mean, whatever Shire. They booted you out of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I remember as soon as we walked out, though, like all the noise from everything just came right back, and it was actually kind of unnerving. I was like, "Oh my god, this is a lot! Holy shit!"
Yeah. I remember
And
there was this square area or this
mhm.
courtyard or something like that with all these street performers too.
Yeah, yeah. Well, and so one that we have a picture of, it's actually one of my favorite pictures of you, is the one where you're standing next to a person dressed as Death.
Yeah, he's like hovering over me.
Yeah,
I
and
remember
again,
that picture.
yeah. So here's little Rose, 5'1", and this guy's standing up on something, and he's dressed like, you know, like the classical depiction of Death. And he's got a little what's that blade thing, like a scythe or whatever it is, and he's just standing there, and he's just looking like Death, and Rose is just like, you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
I'm just like smiling right there, like,
Yeah.
ah.
I think I have that computer somewhere on my
I have
that
that,
picture on
yeah.
my. I think it's on my computer somewhere.
I have that picture.
Um,
I took a picture with the clown too. Like it's
yeah,
really scary. I was like scared to be next to the clown.
right. And
Those
then
clowns are scary.
Yeah.
there was I remember 3 drummers were set up, and they were playing along. I don't even know if they knew each other. I think they just all like were set up near each other and just going to town.
Yeah.
Really cool experience though. Like Amsterdam was really neat to see.
We we
Even if
went
you,
to the torture museum.
oh yeah, yeah,
That
that
was
was a wild
crazy.
time. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Seeing
torture
all
museum.
those
Yeah.
medieval torture devices was just like crazy.
Oh no, like I
Oh yeah,
remember.
they were pretty sick back then, right?
Yeah.
Hell yeah, man! And like as Rose and I are going through, like we're looking at each display, and we're reading it, and we're like, "What the fuck was
Yeah.
wrong with people? This is insanity!"
Yeah. It was.
Like, do you have to be completely sadistic to
Yes.
think of to do this to somebody, and then to do it to somebody? And here you are punishing somebody, right? Like you're punishing a person for being a heretic or for being, you know, extra friendly towards men. Do you know what I mean? And like
Yeah, yeah.
you're punishing them for that with this thing that you invented, which means you're fucked up. Like, I mean, it's
Yeah.
insanity. It's
Yeah.
crazy. But
Yeah.
Amsterdam was an absolutely beautiful town because like
Yes.
everywhere you went was, you know, mostly cobblestone. And it was like originally laid cobblestone. I mean, so obviously some parts of it were, you know, repaired here and there. Just a really, really, really pretty town.
Yeah.
We got offered crack
Okay, sweet, cool.
Yeah, we walked out of the hotel we were staying at, and this guy walks by and said something, and like,
Yeah, I
and
remember that.
he tries to force something into Rose's hand, and this other, like, I think he was like British dude, worked at a shop nearby, like pops out and starts yelling at us, like calling us like dirty Americans or some shit. And remember that guy with the blonde dreads? Like, whoa, 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 no, no, no. Well, I have
That's
no idea what
right.
it is. Yeah,
Yeah,
come to find out, like it was crack. We're like, what the shit?
yeah.
Oh man, he
But
tried to
Yeah,
get you. He tried
I
to
think
get you hooked.
we just spent like 1 or 2 days there or something like that.
yeah. I think it was 2 nights.
Yeah.
I think, but and I was actually really surprised at how short of a drive it was. It was only
Yeah,
six
we
hours for us
stayed
to
at
get there.
that, what is it, the hostel? Is that what they're called?
Was that a hostel?
I think so.
It had to have
But
been.
we did have our own room and a bathroom connected to it, so we didn't have to like
Yeah.
share anything.
But you remember, so the shower was in a closet more or less that had like
Yeah.
you know what I mean? And like all the chairs in the room were like mismatching like plastic lawn chairs.
Yeah. I was like, how clean is this mattress?
Oh, I know. Yeah. There's no telling, man.
Yeah.
It's probably still in use, 17 years later, 18 years later.
Man, I'm sedity. I'd go sleep in the car. I can't do this.
Yeah.
I
We
can't do this shit.
we rented a car for that. We had a Mercedes SUV.
Oh, and y'all were sleeping in a fucking closet?
Well, yeah, more or less. Yeah. I mean, it was a like a full size bed, I think, and that I mostly took up, right, because I'm
Yeah.
so much larger than Rose's, and the bed took up most of the room, right. So there was maybe 2 feet on all sides of the bed. Yeah, super tiny, but I mean, it was still a cool experience, though. Like, I would
Yeah,
definitely
it
recommend it to
was.
anybody.
Yeah, it was. It was really nice.
Um, yeah, no, and geez, um, man, there was something else about it. I can't remember though. No, we didn't go. I was gonna say, I think we talked about going to see the red light district, but we never made it down there.
No, I
Um,
think
Good.
we,
It's a filthy place.
yeah,
well,
Full of disease.
because we didn't want to go and like, you know,
we,
participate.
we're
We were
just gonna
Yeah.
do, we're just gonna window shop.
You gotta hold
window shop.
you gotta hold
Like,
Rose
Rose.
back when it comes to the red light district. You gotta Rose, come on. You gotta
Yeah.
get out of here.
Yeah, she's like, hey Kevin, like Christmas is coming up, and I want this one. I'm like, not gonna happen. But no, we definitely did. I think that's. I mean, that spring and that summer, man, it was pretty
It
fun.
was, it was.
And because I know like Tyree, like you and I and all of our dudes, like we were definitely out, getting crazy and doing dumb shit. But like, and then like me and Rose, we'd be out and we would sometimes go do crazy things, but like mostly we were just kind of like enjoying each other's company,
Yeah,
enjoying each other's time and like trying to see, as much of Germany as we could while staying
yeah,
somewhat local. I think that's the only trip that we actually really took that was far away. I
yeah,
mean, I think we drove around the area more than anything back when because you had a black neon, right? Was it
yeah.
neon?
I think I got that like towards the end of 2003. Yeah, I bought a neon out there.
No, it was definitely because I remember. Oh man, it had to have been the summer of
Oh,
03.
really?
Yeah,
Maybe.
because I remember. So I would drive it sometimes,
Oh, yeah, I
and
would go all the way over to Swineford and pick you up in
mhm.
it. Yeah, I was
Yeah,
speed
which
racing
was
all the way over
which
there.
was pretty standard, right? For any girls that I ever dated, they always had to come pick me up in their cars because I wasn't allowed to drive anywhere. My parents didn't trust me enough to be like, "No, Kevin, you can't be driving places because you don't pay attention to anything." So, like I'm in Schweinfurt and Rose is in Kitzingen, which was about a 35 minute drive. And I'd be like, Rose, can you come get me?
Yeah, it seemed like forever though. It seemed
Yeah.
longer than that. But yeah, I guess.
Yeah, it was about that. I don't remember. I mean, I only drove it a handful of times. I know you drove it a lot more than I
Yeah.
did.
Damn, she's out there filling up that tank too.
Well, not on the not on the economy.
Oh,
I
that's
hope
right.
not.
We pick up the gas from the AFIs or whatever.
Yeah, well, that or you can go to you used to be able to go to the PX and get rations so that you could get gas for US dollars or whatever it was. Because gas at the time, this is insane to me. And I knew it was a lot then, but like it's crazy to think about now. But gas at the time in Germany was like 4 or 5 euros a liter. And, you know, at the time, it was a 1-for-1 exchange. So you're talking like $5 a liter. Well, a gallon has like 1 or 2 liters, 2.5 liters, something like that, 1.5 liters. So for a gallon of gas, I mean, you're paying a lot.
Yeah, it was either that or alcohol.
Right. And we had our share of that as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, fuck yeah, man. So like, so as far as like 03, like what is your most memorable moment of that whole year, and why was it something that deals with me? No, I'm just kidding. But like seriously, like what is your favorite memory from 03?
From 03. Yeah, I don't. We actually also went to what is it called? An improv.
An improv.
Was that in Amsterdam as well?
We went to an improv?
Wasn't it?
What
or maybe
like
that was
some comedy type shit?
Yeah, I went after the deployment too, so maybe that's when I went to the improv, because there was like a big boot improv. I think it was called the Boot, maybe, improv there, but because it was still in Amsterdam, maybe I'm getting those 2 times confused, because I also went to the Van Gogh Museum. So
that wasn't us. So your favorite memory from 03 was actually in 2004. Actually 2005.
2005. Yeah. No, I don't know. Like, we did a lot of stuff. So and mainly like hanging out in my barracks room.
True. No, that's absolutely true. Because you got to think like, so I was an E4 at the time. You were an E3, about to be E4 at the time.
Yeah.
And so, you know, young junior enlisted soldiers do not make a ton of money. And you were making a car payment.
Yeah.
And I was buying cell phones left and right because I kept losing them or breaking them, or new skateboards.
And in my barracks, we actually had our own rooms.
Right. Yeah.
And we had to share a
bathroom.
Yeah, a bathroom, and then on the other side would be another room that, you know. So I had my own room. So you would come over and we had privacy.
Right. Yeah. I don't think you ever really. I mean, I don't think you ever stayed the night at our barracks. Well, maybe one time I think you stayed the night at my barracks.
Yeah.
But that's because at that time I was living with. When we first met, I was living with Mike in the room, and somebody else, and then he got married, moved out. And then he got replaced with Curtis, and I think I was living with Paget. That was him. That was the guy that played the video games. If you remember that one time, and then he got moved out, and I think I lived with Strand and Walker and Kurt. I think so. At one point in time, there was like 4 people in that room, so definitely no privacy. Whereas, your room, you know, was.
Yeah, so you
still
mainly
small.
came. Yeah, you definitely came to Kidskin a lot more than I ever went to.
Yeah, and so you got to think, for me to get to Kidskin, I had to from my barracks walk to the front gate, catch a taxi to the Bahnhof, ride the train to Würzburg, make an interchange to Kitzingen, and then take another taxi from the Kitzingen Bahnhof to your barracks. Long trip.
Unless I drove you.
Right. Well, and at the beginning,
unless I picked you up. Yeah.
So it was definitely a lot of me taking the train.
Yeah. It was pretty fun.
Yeah. As you should have.
Well, right, for sure. It was the gentlemanly thing to do.
Right.
Yeah.
Riding on the train with all the weirdos.
Right. So Rose, now we've got orders to go to Iraq. right? So now you know, like for a fact, we're going to Iraq, man. So what's going through your mind at that point?
Um, you know, you always knew it was going to happen. You
Yeah.
knew, I knew because I joined after 9/11. It's, what they drilled in us at basic and IT, like you're going, so it wasn't like shock. It was just a matter of when.
Mm-hmm.
And so I remember they wanted me to go to the board before Iraq, but I was like, I had no time to study for the board.
The board is for promotions, folks.
Yeah, sorry.
You're good.
And then so I'm trying to study while we're getting ready for this deployment. Then I also took leave to come back to Cali, to have time with my family before Iraq. And I was supposed to be studying while I'm home, which did not happen.
Never happens, man. Nobody goes home from on leave and does anything Army. I'm gonna go home and do PT every day and keep up with my run time. And yeah, God no.
Yeah.
Never did.
So when I get back from leave, I have to go to the promotion board, and I bombed that so bad. Like almost every other question was like, I do not know the answer to that question.
That's awesome.
It was the most embarrassing thing. Like I felt like, just ashamed. My first sergeant was right there, and I was just like, I am so sorry. I am not representing very well. But at the same time, I was like, there's just no time for this. And I felt like, not knowing why, I always struggled with academics, the memory and retaining information. So now I know why there was this mass there. But so it was really a struggle there. But so, yeah, what'd we do? We get deployed in February of 2004. Yeah. Everything we all got on a big plane, didn't we?
Yeah. I mean, I didn't drive over there.
No, well, we all got on buses. I remember leaving that night, and the soldiers that had wives and families in Germany. I remember seeing them all there, and just like, wow, this is it. And we're getting on that bus to go to the airport, and I don't remember where in Germany the airport was, but getting on a plane, maybe, yeah.
Yeah, I think Mike was saying it was we flew out of Frankfurt.
Yeah.
It just
right, mine.
Being crammed on that plane with our M16 and
all of our shit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did we go over there on a commercial flight? Not like a regular airplane?
Yeah.
No, we did.
Yeah. And we had to like line up all the guns pointing towards the cockpit, and it was kind of weird to me. Like,
yeah.
Hey, you guys, line up all your weapons.
Surreal.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I'm like, man, it's just surreal. But
like, this is crazy.
Yeah. And I remember you saying I had the SAW. So when I first got to 4th Platoon, because I was the lowest ranking in the squad, yeah, my weapon was the 249. But once Saucedo, my other battle buddy, when he came
in, Saucedo.
Yeah.
I haven't heard that name in a long time.
I know. He lives here. He's in Cali.
Nice.
He was now the lower enlisted, so he got the SAW. So I didn't have to carry that when we were in Iraq. But
so when you go to Iraq,
you missed out. That's where the party was.
Yeah, right. That's where the party was. Well, she's got a SAW story. But like, so when you were in Iraq, when you were in Iraq, you were at FOB Spiker, right?
No, see, when we flew out to Kuwait, and then what was it like? Because the camps out there, they were each like named by cities. I think we're at Camp New York or something like that, right?
Yeah.
And that's when we found out that our company, 12th Chem, was actually getting split in half. So half of the company was going to FOB Spiker, and then half the company was going to FOB Summerall. which was
Oh,
it was even more north of Fob Spiker. So Spiker was a bigger fob. It had like a Burger King on there. It had like a whole big dining facility, contracted out. Like they had, like it was a bigger one. The fob I was on, like tiny,
Yeah.
it was like, we were doing our own laundry, like hand wash almost. We had these tiny little
Yeah. Did you have
washing
washboards?
machines. We
Oh, okay.
just, no, we
You didn't
had
have
these tiny things. It was like you could fit one uniform in there and you had to like, it was like so bad. Then you hang dry it. So it's like, what's the purpose of washing it when you're
Yeah.
hang drying it in the desert?
I
Like
know.
it was still,
Windy and dusty. It's like
yeah,
you're just washing the sweat out, but keeping the dirt in.
yeah. But
We had to do that for a while. When we first got there, we had washboards, like old school, like washboards
yeah,
and tubs. And then finally, and I swear to God, this was the only amenity that we really had our whole deployment, is finally we were able to ship our laundry off.
yeah, we got
Yeah,
that at
that
the
was
end
nice.
too. We
That was
actually
real
got
nice.
Yeah.
at the end, it was like we got a contracted laundry service, so we could take our laundry over there. There were actual washing machines that they would do your laundry for you. So, but that was towards the end of that deployment.
I mean, I think we got it like
But
2 or 3 months in.
but two, when we did get deployed, me and you had already broken up, so we were not together anymore.
Well, I mean, yes and no. Like
Yeah.
we weren't not, but we weren't not, right? Because I remember the
Nah,
last time we saw each other.
whoa, stop. Because she just clearly said that y'all were broken up, so y'all
Well,
were not.
Well, yes,
Y'all
and
were
no,
not
because
together.
Okay, when we left Germany, we were not together. But
Y'all were Dunsky.
we ended up seeing each other in Kuwait. You were in line and you were bald.
Yeah.
I was like, what do you do?
And then you
But
saw my big bald head, and you're like, "Ugh, I just can't not be with this guy."
I ended up actually asking Mike Saucedo,
Mhm.
that I think it was like that night. I was like, hey, we have to go over to 126, right? You guys are 126?
Yeah.
And I was like, he's like, why? I go, you have to go in there and ask for Kevin Johnson, Specialist Johnson. And he's like, why? I'm like, just do it. It's like, I can't go in there. I'm a female. Like, I'll get my ass chewed or something. So we did that.
Or all the guys in there be like, huh? A
Yeah.
female?
So he
It's
does.
been 2 weeks.
Yeah, fucking weirdos.
So he does. I love that guy. He's, one of my best friends too. So, and he goes in the big tent and they say you're out on a Bradley, pulling guard or something.
Yeah, I was.
Yeah. So he's such a trooper. So he goes with me and I'm like, I can't yell for him. Like they're going to know I'm a female. So I'm telling Mike, ask for, Specialist Johnson. So we find you and you come down and I still remember like we talked for a little bit, but I was like, I want to kiss. And
Yeah.
that
We had to take our helmets off. We can't even take our helmets off.
Yeah. And we made out.
Yep.
So that's where like the confusion comes in, like, okay, we weren't together, but we made out, so we started talking again, type of thing.
And we were writing letters and stuff when we were in Iraq.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because that was really our only way to, for correspondence.
Yeah.
It's not like you think now people, well, not now, right? Because the war is quote unquote over, but the last like 5 to 8 years or so, or even more, like soldiers have been able to deploy with their cell phones and have signal.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Great.
Yeah. My buddy, when he deployed to a place in Iraq near a border. And when he first got there, my first correspondence with him, that he sends me a Snapchat. I was like, what the fuck? What? No, bro. Like, write me a letter like we used to do.
Well, I thought like the whole because even when we were downrange, if something happened, the whole base got like
blackout.
Yeah. So how could that even be a
Yeah,
thing
no,
if you have a cell phone?
I don't know. I don't know if they like, close the circuit or whatever, shut off the towers. I have no idea.
Yeah,
I really don't know.
yeah.
But
Because
yeah,
I remember, that would happen so that nobody, got wind of something
yeah,
before the
Hmm.
family was notified or stuff like that.
Yeah.
right. So we made out in Kuwait.
Yeah.
And
Which
then,
Kuwait was crazy to me. Like, it wasn't crazy like anything happening, but the sandstorms there,
yeah,
like that was crazy. I remember driving the 5 tons that are Humvees from where they got dropped off, picking them up and driving them all the way back to the camps.
hmm,
And like, am I behind the truck still? Like, I can't even see because all
yeah,
the
right.
dust that was being kicked up. But we made it. And I remember there was a rope that we had to hold on to during a sandstorm to make it from our tents to the dining facility that you
Yeah,
couldn't even see in front of you, that you get lost. Like, that was crazy.
yeah,
I thought that shit was
Um,
cool. I loved it.
no, that it hurt. You had to be like covered from head
oh
to
yeah,
toe.
hmm,
Otherwise, that sand would just blast you too.
yeah. So how did you get into Iraq? Did they fly all up there, drive to drive?
Um, no, we had to drive. And what's crazy is like, so we get in all our vehicles, we get in our convoy, and we're driving off Camp New York. And we didn't even make it that far, and a vehicle breaks down.
Damn.
Yeah, we could still turn around and see the camp. Like, and we were there forever. And it was just like, you just felt like, really? Like, but we finally get back on the road. And when we drove over the border and made it into Iraq, it was already nighttime. So I remember, crossing it at night. And so we were driving through Iraq, dead nighttime, black, you can't see
Yeah.
anything. And what was that road? It was like, did it end up turning into like this big highway or?
Yeah, I can't remember I don't know if that was necessarily MSR Tampa, main supply route Tampa, if it ran all the way down to Kuwait. But yeah, it was a major highway
Hmm.
Yeah.
during all that time frame.
Yeah. And so it took us forever to get all the way up to Summerall. It seemed like,
Well, it took us 3 days, 3 days, 3 nights to get to Samara. So I would assume it probably took y'all
yeah,
like four days or so.
yeah,
Yeah.
because we were past you. Yeah, it took us
Yeah.
a while. Um, and nothing like real eventful. I remember, so we're driving and like really no brakes. I don't remember any brakes, and I'm always the driver. And Sergeant Faust is next to me, cool guy,
I
love
remember that
him.
name.
Yeah, and big guy, big,
Mhm.
and like tall as well. And I just remember like driving forever, and it must have been like 4 in the morning. And I look over him like, we have to switch driving. I'm like, my eyes are getting heavy. Like, I don't know, I might fall asleep. And he's like, how are we gonna switch? I'm like, I don't know, but you have to start driving. And I was like, just put that leg over here. I'll get up over here. And so we did that while driving, and we made it. And then, not even like 5 minutes later, our first sergeant gets on the radio saying, we're going to take a rest and then we're going to switch drivers. I looked at him.
No, we're good for time. We already did it. We should keep
Yeah.
on
Keep
going.
rolling. Keep rolling.
I looked at him like, we're not switching. You're still driving.
5 minutes is not enough.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I remember doing that. And then finally getting to Summerall, which was called something else. I think it was when we first got there, and they changed the name to Summerall.
Do you know what town that was outside of?
Baji, if I'm correcting it right, Baja, I believe. Baji, or something like that. We're right
Didn't they
next
have a
to
jail
it.
next to it?
Bayji.
Was it?
Yeah. It's
Sorry.
north of Tikrit.
Yeah, that's where the jail was. It had a little jail in there.
That's Abu Ghraib.
Like
If you're
no,
thinking of-
we did.
Not that one. There was another jail there. They had more than one.
We had a detainee area. I do
we
remember
never went
that.
up to where she was though.
I mean, no, not up there, but it was one. I forget exactly where it is. I'm gonna have to look that up.
But yeah, so
Baji,
being there, like we were attached to the if I remember, 33rd Field Artillery, and it was an all-male battalion, and then on the other side of the fob was also another all-male battalion, and I can't remember what that one was because I wasn't attached to it. But so it's how many? We were maybe like 4 platoons of us chemicals attached to them, plus there were some medics. So at the time, maybe at max it was like 20 females on this base. During that whole time there was only one time I got the creeps from one guy. Other than that, like, never felt like anybody looked at me other than a soldier. Like, yeah, like I said, that decision to switch platoons was the best decision in my military career.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. So the other half of the company was on Spiker, and bigger fob and everything. But when we were because we were chemical, we weren't like really using our MOS. So,
which was crazy, right? Because we're in Iraq, and weapons of mass destruction, nuclear devices, chemical devices.
We got our anthrax shot. We were just like, you had that threat, but it never came. So we got tasked out. There were some of us that were tasked to go on these convoys. Others, like when I first got there, I was out on the OPs. And then eventually I got tasked to man the radios in the TOC. So that's where I was around all the first sergeants, the captains, the sergeant major, and
the hub.
And manning the radios, and logging on the computer everything that was happening. And
so, what was it like working on those radios?
It wasn't. so like I said, a fob with 2 all-male battalions, and I'm the female manning the radio.
Right.
So, and I did that all the way probably up till November when I got promoted to sergeant. I was in there, and I had day shift, so I was there all day. And for the most part, it was rocket X-ray radio checks over, and then they would all call in and do their radio checks. Unless we got mortared, then we're taking coordinates and, any injuries. But I don't remember us ever really having any injuries from mortars, and just logging that. And then we also had like a landline. It seemed like a regular telephone that would ring. That I would have to answer, and did that. And it wasn't, it was easy. I was in front of a computer, getting all the information in. So knowing what's happening on the fob, who's off the fob, who's on the fob, and just manning the radio.
But, so you had your finger on the pulse of the whole shit a little bit.
Yeah, I was like in the know, which turned out to be a great experience too. On the other fob, our captain, because headquarters and like 3 other platoons were on fob Spiker, and our captain, he was pissed about that. He tried getting us back over to Spiker, and I remember being in the TOC, and the sergeant major came up to me and was like, what do you think about being here? And I was like, well, when am I going to get this opportunity to be in this situation again? Like, I know I'm not going to get it there. All they do is guard the gate, the front gate at Spiker. Like, and that's all I knew that they were doing. And so I was like, I won't get this opportunity again. Like, I'm fine staying here. So yeah, he basically, from what I heard, chewed our captain out, and we stayed at Summerall. And and I, again, a blessing in disguise too, because turns out I found out way after the deployment. I have another battle buddy that moved out to California, that she was on Spiker. So she knew what was happening on the other fob. My old squad leader, the piece of shit, is now serving like 50 years.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
I was going to ask for what, but I have a feeling I know.
Yep. Yeah.
Good for him. Good for him.
Yeah.
It always comes back, man.
Crazy, ugly shit. And yeah.
50 big ones.
Yeah.
It sucks to be you, buddy.
Yeah.
If you're listening to this, go fuck
hope
yourself.
Or
he's definitely thinking he's bottom bitch right now. Like, he's probably right now getting it.
Yeah.
And, getting it given to him.
So, like, the way everything happened, at least for me, like, I thank God that I got myself out of that platoon.
Yeah.
For
sure. Yeah.
And the only one time I felt creeped out on Fob Summerall with anybody there, like, me and Sergeant Faust went to go work out in the weight room. And we're in there, like, and I'm doing something with the weights, and
moving them around and shit.
Yeah.
Kicking them like tires.
And the special forces guy, because they had a compound on our fob, the special forces, they had their own little compound. And one of these special forces guys comes over to me and he goes, "Are you Rocket X-Ray?"
No shit.
And I was like, confused, like, I was like, no, Rocket X-Ray is like a call sign for the talk. And he was like, well, no, like, are you the female that's on the radio? And I was like, oh yeah. And, like, straight up was like, you should come hang out with us in our compound. And he even goes, like, we have beer. And I was like, no. Like, creepy guy in the white van here,
right.
candy coming, like,
I got
total.
Hey, bro,
even in a damn war zone, man. Even
totally,
in a damn war zone.
Yeah.
That's fucking nuts.
Totally creeped out. And I was just like, no, thank you. Have no idea what his intentions were, but I can just,
smart move.
Yeah.
Those signs.
Based on your experiences, when you first got to Germany, it definitely didn't look right.
Oh no!
But I'll tell you what, the SF guys we worked with, they never offered us beer.
No, they didn't.
Jerks.
And in fact, if they did offer beer, I would probably take it.
Yeah,
I'd probably take it.
Who knows if they really even had it?
But, oh no, they. We got to see their food closet. At the ODA that we got to hang out at, and one of them was telling us they had like a $5,000 a month budget just for food.
Wow!
Right? Oh man! Oh, that was the best. Oh
yeah, and Tyree got to eat a lot of it because he stayed there a lot.
I was there all the time.
Yeah.
Oh gosh. All the Pop-Tarts and all the ramen noodles. It was like jail commissary, man. It's popping.
But this is shut up. This isn't about you.
I know. I'm sitting here listening, man.
Yeah.
I'm just along for the ride.
And it's crazy, right? So, not to cut you off, Rose, but like it's kind of crazy to hear this because, like, I mean, I knew a little bit about like what Rose was going through, where she was, because like
Mhm.
like I said, we were writing letters. I actually received one letter from Rose that was like hand delivered, right? Do you remember like a convoy? Like you got,
Yes, yeah.
yeah.
So there was one time that we had to go do training down at Fob Anaconda,
Hmm.
hazmat training, um, to keep us, up to date on our chemical stuff. So we were going down there to spend like 2 or 3 weeks in this hazmat training. And, going from, you know,
Summerall.
basically, yeah, Summerall all the way down to Anaconda. Like I remember it was just down there. Um, in honor, I think it was
Hmm.
on our way down. And I'm not exactly sure, but I don't remember it being part of our convoy. Um, we came up to a Humvee that was hit, either um, like it ran over a landmine or it was hit, but we ended up coming up on it, pulling a box formation around it. And there was a major that was hitching a ride with us down to Anaconda, and he was in my Humvee. And so I see the first sergeant, everybody else, the medics go up to the Humvee that was hit. And I think there was like 3 soldiers in there. The driver was hit the hardest. And I just remember them pulling out. And for some reason, we could not get comms out. We couldn't call for a medevac. We couldn't call. And so that's when we had to drive all the way back to your
Hmm.
compound because yours was like the closest one. We had passed you not too far behind. So I think because the major was in my Humvee, that's why ours was chosen. And then 510 with the 50 cal followed us. And I just remember like thinking, I have to get to your fob as soon, like as fast as, so I was like flooring it as fast as I can as these Humvees go. And he had to tell me to slow down because the 510 couldn't keep up.
Yeah.
And I was just like, in my head, I'm like, what do you mean slow down? Like, this guy's, you know, bleeding out or whatever. I was just like, so when we got to your guys' compound, your fob, um, I just, in my head, I was like, if he hears 12 chem, like someone got hit, like, I was
Hmm.
just like, hey, I'm okay. Hey, thinking about you. um, type of thing on a cardboard, whatever, piece of
Yeah.
cardboard.
Yeah.
And I just asked, I was like, hey, could you give this Specialist Johnson? I didn't even know like what platoon you're with or anything like that. I was like, just in case you heard something, like I'm okay, type of thing. And so I believe they obviously radioed a medevac uh, to go out there. And then one of your medics uh, followed us, but they were on tracks.
Hmm.
So even though it took us forever to get to your fob, it took even longer to get from your fob back to where the convoy was
Right.
because the tracks on that concrete were like super slow.
Yeah. It's probably 113s.
Yeah.
And when we finally got there, that's when uh, the chopper was actually lifting off the ground and taking off. And it was just crazy because, I remember asking him, like, did he make it? Is he okay? And he didn't.
Oh
The
man.
driver ended up passing. And it was just like, I felt like I wasn't fast enough, you know,
Yeah.
like as the driver, you have that, I could have, you know, anything. And I
Yeah.
still don't know like what unit he was with, why, if he wasn't with our unit, which I honestly don't think he was, where was the rest of his convoy? I'm like, why was he out there by himself? You
Right.
know? And, all that goes through, my mind. That's just sticks with you. Um,
It's a good
and
thing you guys were there.
yeah,
It seemed like they were separated from everyone else.
yeah. And,
They
I
could have
was like
been
the
picked
last
apart by the,
vehicle or something.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yikes, man. That's terrifying.
yeah, it was. And, so that was, obviously pretty rough. And so we made it down to Anaconda, and then we were there for, like I said, 2 or 3 weeks doing hazmat training. And it was different than our regular chemical decon type of training. This was actually, we're in the big hazmat suits where we have an oxygen tank on our back because somebody has to zip us in these, you know, uh, hazmat uniforms. We have to have a knife on us because we couldn't open it from the inside. So if we ran out of air, we could suffocate inside. So if we ever had to get out, we have a knife to cut us out.
Jeez.
Yeah.
God.
And they were bright neon blue hazmat suits. And they're telling us, if, there's, a warehouse with containers, we will get, sent out there to test these containers, see if, they're hazardous. And I'm just thinking, so we're going to be walking from our vehicle, in a safe distance away from, these containers, in open area with bright neon hazmat suits with an oxygen tank on our back over to these, like, we're walking targets. That's what I just would think in my head, if it ever happened for us to go out there and do this. I was like, we're just a bomb with the oxygen
Yeah.
tank on our back. And
Yeah.
I was like, how them? But then, so we did that training, and it was fun times.
Right. Especially
In the
Iraq
heat.
in the summer. Yeah.
Yeah.
Peaking 130.
Yeah. And so it was just like a sauna inside those hazmat suits. And yeah, so but it was still fun times. That training it wasn't bad. It was fun. And then got back to Summerall, back doing our thing.
What about when you came home for R&R and you were on your convoy? So you come home for R&R, you're living life back in California for a little bit,
Yeah,
and you can
what we get, 2 weeks at home?
yeah, it's 2 weeks. Yep.
We got 2 weeks at home. And then so when it came time to come back,
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember like the flight or anything like that, but I do remember being back on, and I'm not sure what fob it was that we came into, but the 33rd Field Artillery was, meeting us there. They had the convoy waiting for us. They had 2 5 tons for the people coming back from R&R to get up on the back. So, and I could be wrong, but I don't remember even having our M16s. I just remember like having a duffel bag and seeing the 5 ton. In the first 5 ton I seen, I just threw my stuff up there and got on. I was like the first soldier to get there. And so I'm sitting there and I see another chem soldier, Burrell, and I seen him. I was like, hey. And I called him up. I was like, come sit down over there. So he goes to get up on this 5 ton. And the sergeants from the 33rd Field Artillery said, no, we're loading up this one. And they were closer to a different 5 ton. And I was like, why does it matter?
Right.
But so he comes over, he's like, no, they said I can't get on this one, I have to get on the other one. I go, well, then just wait till that one gets full. Here, hand me your bag. And so he waits, and then he gets on. Well, he would have been like the first soldier on that other 5 ton. And so when we pull out to go into the convoy, another thing too, like, you know how each vehicle has an order in which where they are in the convoy.
Yeah, order
Yeah.
of march. Yep.
Yeah, the 5 tons that we were on were actually in the opposite order. So, so in convoy order, the 5 ton I was in was supposed to be ahead of the other 5 ton, but it didn't turn out that way. We're out of order. So in almost the exact same spot we were, that other Humvee was hit. It felt like it was almost the exact same spot that our convoy was hit.
And that's actually not too surprising because that particular area, because that was MSR Tampa, it's Highway 1 that runs through there, was that particular area through Samara or around Samara was like really, really, really bad. I know. So we mostly operated in town, but I know there were units that patrolled that area and like the Cav guys and all that other stuff. And I mean, they were just constantly busy, like pulling IEDs out of the ground or capturing dudes that were doing that. Yeah. So.
So so they were hit. I don't think there were any major injuries as far as I know. But again, we came up, pulled another box formation, and the way our 5 ton was facing, I could see. So if we're going north and we're on the right side, I could see that field to the east. And it just looked like dead long grass, just a bunch of long grass. And I was just thinking, like, anybody could be in there. I was just like, felt like a sitting target, especially because I don't remember us having our M16s or weapons as, the soldiers coming back from R&R. And on the other side of this field, there was like a dirt road way back there. And then there was like this hut. And I'm like looking out there and I see somebody like peek out from behind this hut. And immediately I was like, did you see that? I'm talking to the guy, next to me. I'm like, did you see that? Look over there. I'm like trying to get everybody to look and tell people. And then there was a Humvee that had the 50 cal on it. And I was like, somebody has to, fire over there or something. Like I was just yelling. And so eventually they have the guy on the 50 cal shoot in that direction. Well, there was this electrical, wire going across on top of the field. And he hits that perfectly. And breaks it in half and it goes down. So this live wire goes into this dry grass. I was like, you just set this on fire. They just lost their electricity. Like I was just like thinking, and you didn't even scare the guy off. Like but yeah, so that's when we had to I think we pulled the 5 ton back onto your base again, I believe, and we had to leave it there. And then we went back to our fobs. As far as I know, that's what happened in that situation. But yeah, that's why when I heard you say, you talked about it in the first podcast, and I was like, wow, you made me sound like a badass. I just told it from
what I thought I remembered. Thought I remember, like you engaged a little bit here and there. But still, I mean, you think even if you didn't like necessarily pulling triggers,
well, the only time I did have to engage was when I was on Fob Summerall. I was at an OP and I had to fire some warning shots at a vehicle that stopped right in front of our OP. And, of course, it's like, you can't stop, you got to keep moving. So I fired some warning shots and I guess the guy broke down because, well, at least, he got out of the car and ran away.
Yeah, right.
Damn, he's just waiting on AAA. Taking him down. Shit.
Rose like, get the fuck out of here. Ain't no AAA today. But
Yeah.
I mean, in 2004, man, like that's just how
Yeah.
it was, man. That's just
Yeah.
that was the thing. That's what we had to do. That
Even
was
even while you're on the convoy, like going from, Anaconda back to Summerall or Summerall to Anaconda, you're in that convoy and any vehicle that
Mhm.
comes in, you're like ramming them off the road.
Yep.
You're firing warning shots at them while you're driving. So it was like and I was always the driver. And so, I kind of joke about my whole saying now is like you could thank the army for my aggressive driving, but but you could thank Iraq for my road rage.
Yeah, right.
I
My little
totally dig that. I think you
yeah,
get all the good driving skills from the army.
Oh
yeah.
hell yeah, man. Absolutely. I think when we've talked about that in previous episodes for sure. And then Tyree, you know a little something about giving warning shots on the top of a Humvee at vehicles if they get too close to your convoy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do I?
Yes, you do. Unless you fucking lied to me with your MP5.
Oh no, that happened. Yeah, that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
You
used to remember,
shoot off rounds on the
yeah,
MP5 at these cars. I'm not throwing rocks like an idiot.
Yeah.
I
I
need to have my
remember
hand on the trigger.
them like going like there was that big patch of dirt in between, the left side and the right side, and they'd see us coming, they would just cross over to the opposite side and drive against traffic on the opposite side.
Mm-hmm.
It was like the West, the old West, just
Yeah. No, it really was.
yeah.
So they later on in the deployment, though, our Bradleys, they were told to keep rocks on top of the turret because they didn't want them to engage because the only three weapon systems they had on top of the Brad was a 240 Charlie, which was a 7.62 round, the 25 millimeter Bushmaster, which is a mini cannon, and then 2 tow missiles. So they don't really, they can't really give a proper warning shot. So they're told to keep rocks up there. But like Tyree was telling me that, when he got to work, he got to do turret gunner or whatever it was for the ODA guys, and they gave him like an MP5 or whatever, and they were like, if they get too close, just let them have it. And
Yeah.
I remember you telling me, dude, like I remember you being like, yeah, what's too close? Is like whatever you feel.
Yeah. I was nervous as shit, man. First of all right, they were trying to make us feel comfortable with working with them. They didn't have on vests and all kind of shit, and they're wearing these fucking, cool guy hats and shit.
Mm-hmm.
Now, yeah, you guys don't have to wear those vests. And I'm like, really? And it's
yeah,
it's a billion degrees outside, and I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna wear the vest with no top under. They're like, okay, that flies. So then they're like, okay, well, here's an MP5. Here's how you use it. I'm like, man, I've seen tons of movies. I got this under control. Just tell me what to do. He's like, just don't let them get too close. Don't let them get too close. So he's like, there is a bag of rocks up here, but if they get too close, you give them a warning shot.
Yeah.
And if they continue to get close, you save us. I'm like, okay, well, I could do that shit. That's fucking pretty square, pretty
Yeah.
up front, Front Street. And it was a couple cars where we had to shoot some warning shots at, make them veer off hard, just because either they weren't paying attention or what. But that pucker moment, is always extra high alert.
Hell yeah, man!
You're looking at every car, you're looking at every person in the car, you're looking at every person walking, you're looking at every piece of trash, all that kind of stuff. So
yeah, literally head and eyes on a swivel, like every single thing. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Rose.
So when so a lot of driving triggers me, when I'm especially LA. Like if I have to go down the hill and go through, LA traffic. Oh my gosh. The first time my daughter heard me curse was because of road rage.
Really?
Oh yeah. And it wasn't just like, shit or anything. Like it was full blown like, you motherfucking
just letting them have it.
Throwing up signs.
Damn.
And then my little girl's in the back, like still like 4 or 5, and she's like, "Mommy?" I was like, "Oh shit!" I forgot you were back there for a sec.
That's funny.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
so yeah, I also went to the board again while I was in Iraq. So I think that was around November of 2003 that, I actually studied, because, well, in the talk, it was like I had, you have your morning chow, and then I had a report to the talk, and then dinner comes, and, I was off. And so that was my downtime.
Mm-hmm.
And so I studied and went to the board on Fob Spiker. And it was actually that morning that Fob Summerall was hit with the vehicle IED.
I remember hearing about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it targeted more so the local nationals because I guess it knew it wouldn't make it through the gate. So the local nationals that would come on our fob to work or do, the odd jobs on the fob, it targeted them and drove into and blew up. I remember seeing pictures of like the vehicles in just black,
Yeah.
But I didn't find out till after the board. Me and another soldier had to go do like a over the phone interview, and it was actually the person interviewing me that knew about it and told me. And I was just like you know dumbfounded, because it's like I didn't even hear it from my own unit telling me, hey, this is what's up. But yeah, crazy story about going to the board. So it was me and another soldier, again, I forget his name, but we studied the whole year. So you think I would remember his name. He's in 12th Chem. And we go to the board, and he goes ahead of me because he goes first because his Burrell. Okay, that's right. He's B. So Burrell. Is it B? No, not Burrell. He was the R&R guy. Butler is the one I went to the promotional board with. And he comes out like not looking like he did good at all.
Just defeated.
Yeah. And I was just like, shit. And so then another soldier went in, and then I was after that one. And I went in there, and it was the complete opposite of my first time. Like, I was answering every question. Like, I just knew. And I think what really helped is me working in the talk, working with all those. Oh, yeah. Just like in knowing it, it was just like I knew it. It's like, so it really, like, night and day from my first one.
Yeah, that you're in a different mind state also.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And
more experience as a soldier. And yeah, for sure.
And so then I came out of there, and then they tally up all your points or whatever, and they come out and they tell you your score. And I remember the soldier that came out, and she was like, yeah, you got 150. And I was like, well, is that good or bad? She was, well, you got 150 out of 150. So I was like, oh, okay.
Cool.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, I did it.
Yeah. I always expect to fail. So anything above that, I'm like, all right, cool.
Anything above failure.
It's an absolute success.
Damn, Rose.
So
Jesus.
I know. So that was cool. I was like surprised myself that, wasn't expecting to get that. So
that'll be a good title for this episode.
What's that?
Anything above failure.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
That reminds me, not like that reminded me of it, but just a memory came back as I was leaving Fob Anaconda from that hazmat training. There's a big arch over the entry and exit, point, and it says they're like spray painted or painted up there, today could be the day. As you're driving off the Fob, that's what you read. And I was just like, shit, like
it's ominous as fuck, man.
Grim Reaper ass asshole.
Yeah.
Put that shit up.
Yeah, for real. I was just like, Okay, I'm awake. I'm alert.
God.
Yeah. But so yeah, we get back to Summerall after my promotion and find out, the front gate was hit, and just like you could tell the morale of the fob was different, you know, um, which was crazy, None of our guys were injured, but still, like, the soldiers that were there, they seen the destruction. They seen, you know, human remains. Just,
Yeah.
it was just crazy. So
Yeah, that can absolutely be a lot, man. I mean,
yeah,
we've talked about it before, but seeing that stuff is, the first couple times, it's a lot for
oh
sure.
yeah,
But shit, at a point, like we were at a point where it was just kind of became the norm,
Yeah.
like, the smell of it or the sight of it
yeah.
or whatever. It was just,
It's a part of the what's going on here.
it's part of the experience.
If it didn't smell like that, it's something wrong.
Yeah, no, that's a good way of putting it, man. But
Yeah, so
yeah.
after that, that's when they rotated me out of working at the talk, and I was back with the company, doing like maintenance stuff and working in the motor pool. And I got put on this other roster, like as females, the females in our company each day got rotated, on this roster. Basically, if a female local national needed to be searched to come on the fob, they would call one of us, whoever had that duty that day, and we would go. And so I didn't even know I was on it. Like, nobody briefed me that this was even a thing. And so in the middle of the night, one night, I get woken up by CQ, telling me, like, I had to get up and I had to report over to the detainee center, which I didn't even know we had. And so it, like, I was like shocked, like I get up, I sleep in my PT's clothes, and I get up and I'm like, do I go like this? And then as soon as I said it, I was like, that's stupid. Pretend I didn't ask that. let me change. And like, I'm still waking up type of attitude. I was just like, that was stupid. Why did I ask that? But yeah, so that was probably like the middle of the night. And it was me and Sergeant Harris, who was another female soldier. And so we get in a Humvee, we go to this detainee center. We have to wait like all night. And we're thinking like she's there when we get there. Nope, they're still off the fob somewhere and they're coming. And so we waited all night. And it was probably like sometime around 8 or 9 that they finally get there. So we have to search her. Then we have to, pull guard on her so she's never alone. There's always a female with her. She needs to use the latrine. We follow her, type thing. And so I should have already. So I was still working in the talk during this time, and so I was supposed to report to the talk, and I never showed up. And so they're calling 12th Chem like, hey, where's Contreras? And my unit's like, we don't know. And so there was like a miscommunication, is like nobody told nobody that me and Sergeant Harris had to report to the detainee center. So for a while, they didn't know where we were at. And finally figured it out and had to send somebody to replace us so that I could go to the talk. So I'm dead tired. And I go in there and I sit in front of the computer. I, check in, do that radio check. And I'm sitting there and like my eyes are heavy and I'm like almost falling asleep, trying not, to fall asleep, nodding off. And I hear the phone ring, but it's the actual like landline phone. And I shoot up Like, so stupid. I shoot up, like, just stand up in my chair. I grab the radio
Right.
and I pick it up like a phone because it, has the same type of handle as a phone.
Mm-hmm.
And I go, hello. Like, not even like, 33, field artillery, who's speaking type of thing. No, just like, hello. Like, and they all like turned and looked at me. And I'm looking at them and I'm just like, hello. And then I look at I'm like, stupid. Like, this is the radio. Like, I realized what I did. And one of the captains come over, he's like, you should just go home and sleep the rest of the day.
Be like, thank you. Damn.
Yeah.
Finally.
I felt so stupid. I was just like, I can't believe I just did that.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah. Hello.
Who's calling at this hour?
Yeah.
What do you want? Have you seen that movie? Was it In the Army Now with Pauly Shore?
Yeah, that came out like before we even joined, didn't it?
Yeah, it was
it
like
was way
98,
back
99. Yeah. Well,
He
so
was
there's a scene later in the movie where they're deployed to Jordan, and they're the last remaining hope for the American element to take out the bad guys and blah blah blah. And they get this drop of equipment, you know what I mean? There's a radio on there, and so he's talking to the first sergeant back in the rear, and the first sergeant trying to like give him instructions and all that stuff, and he's like sitting in the rear like, no, shut up, don't talk. I'm busy. Just talking to him like, you imagine Pauly Shore talking, That's
Yeah.
what that reminds me of. I was like, hello.
Yeah, it's so stupid. David, the other specialist from 12th Chem, is two of us, and he's sitting down. He's just looking at me like you said, you just did that. Like, and I said it twice too, because I was like, everybody's looking at me. I'm like thinking to myself, like, nobody's answering.
There's nobody here.
Hello, and I look at it like, oh my gosh, I'm an idiot.
Okay, so we have to draw down.
Oh yeah.
What else? I'm sorry. Leaving Iraq.
Mm-hmm.
What was the feeling when you finally landed back in Germany?
It's weird that I don't remember. I remember the feeling. I remember being on Fob Summerall and knowing the night we were leaving and getting like almost a full-blown panic attack. And I don't know if it was having to leave the Fob again because of everything that happened on the convoy, but I got like my heart palpitation just was like super strong. And I was just like, where I felt like I was even like sweating, I was just like leaving country, and I was just like, shit, like this is it. But one of the things right before we ended up getting a contracted dining facility on that fob, like 2 months before we left,
Lucky.
I know that was the last 2 months. It was for the unit after us. But I remember being in there and we were sitting down, and the other soldiers that were replacing us were in there too. I think it was a National Guard unit. And we're sitting there and we're eating, and we got hit. You hear the mortars coming.
Mm-hmm.
And it was funny because you could tell who were the new guys and who were the guys that have been there for a year, because half of the people in there just drop and get under the table, and we all look over like, what are you doing?
No, it's fine, guys. It's fine.
Yeah.
No big deal.
It was the funniest thing. So actually,
the first son of a weary warrior.
yeah.
Yeah.
But actually landing back in Germany, I don't remember it.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't even remember that part. I just remember being there and you're being briefed and everything. And because I had gotten, what is it? Is it stop loss when
Yeah.
My 3 years was up when the deployment came, and I chose not to reenlist. And that was another thing while we were deployed in Iraq that came up again about wanting to reenlist, and you won't have to pay taxes on your bonus and all this. And I seriously thought about reenlisting only because I was now in a platoon where
Yeah.
everything made sense. And this is where I really, you know, thank Sergeant Moore again, because to me, he was a true leader. He didn't try to, I'm not here to tell you, yes, you should reenlist. I'm not going to sit here and tell you, no, you shouldn't reenlist.
Mm-hmm.
He goes, but if you were in a situation that you were in before with the platoon you were in, could you handle it? And I knew right then, like, no, I wouldn't be, I couldn't even handle it then. I know I wouldn't be able to handle it. And that's what ultimately made me decide not to reenlist.
You know what's really shitty about that is, I mean, first of all, like, you, I mean, although I never worked with you like as a professional as soldier, right? Like soldiers,
Yeah.
like but like I knew how hard you worked to do your courses, to get promoted, to know your job. I know the effort that you put into it, and here you are, a good soldier, and because of what happened in the beginning, because of that one guy. You know what I mean? Like that's such a fucking problem in the Army.
Yeah.
Yeah. So and just once again, I just want to put this out there. Fuck that guy. Yeah, I hope he's doing terrible right now.
Yeah, he is.
I mean, he got tons of time to think about his actions while trying to protect his anus. So
yeah. So when we got back to Germany, I was, I had the 3 months of, what is it, like, getting ready to check out to go home.
Check out like of the hotel.
Yeah.
Turn in your shit, get on the plane, and go.
Yep.
That's it.
And
it's over.
Yeah. I just remember.
Do you remember the plane ride back to America?
I do. And
you probably sat next to like the coolest person ever on that plane.
Well, first I wanted to ask you, because the alcoholic that I was, when we got back, I was like, in my head, I was like, I want to go to that bar, a house of 150 beers. And like, that was on my mind. So I don't even know if I went with somebody. I don't remember if I took somebody or if I just went by myself. But I was there, and I remember sitting, on a couch or something with my beer, and then you and Brown come walking in, and I was just like, shit, like, look who it is. And you guys sat, and we, shared a beer and talked, and you guys gave me a ride back to my barracks. And so just like coincidence that we ran into each other. And then, the plane ride going home, sitting and waiting for the gate to open, and here you are sitting there. I was like, hey.
Yep.
How did that work? Just a coincidence, or did Kevin?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
No,
we were
Kevin
both
was
put on the
stalking
same
me.
flight. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, I mean, you're the one writing notes to me while we were in Iraq and trying to find me so you can make out with me in Kuwait. But I'm stalking you.
Wow.
No, we just ended up on the same flight, and so originally she was sat next to somebody else, and we asked to switch seats.
I basically was like, get over here.
Yeah.
Wow.
And so I mean, that 16-hour flight back.
He slept.
And I mean, I was probably passed out on your shoulder.
Yeah.
What a like poetic way to end like the whole thing between you two.
Yeah.
Now, what was the life like outside of the Army?
It wasn't very eventful at first. I stayed home. Well, I got married.
Okay.
Yeah.
Congrats.
Yeah. Well, I'm not anymore.
All right. Congrats.
But yeah, so I stayed home for a semester. I, went back to college. Um, I wanted that time with my family that I didn't have, and did a semester. He was stationed in Fort Huachuca, so after the semester was over, I went and lived with him at Fort Huachuca in Arizona, and that's when we got pregnant. And he had a hard time dealing with the fact that they were telling him he was getting deployed again right after a deployment, and handled it the wrong way. Because when he got there, they basically said, "Don't unpack your bags. You're going back."
Wow.
Yeah, and so instead of handling it the right way, he, started to self-medicate, and through a process, it just so happened like the whole 9 months I was pregnant, he was dealing with all of that, and you know,
It's
it
a
took
lot.
it took them forever to like give him the Article 15. Like I was about ready to have my baby when they were giving him the Article 15. And I was just thinking like if they kick you out, like I'm about ready to pop here. What are we gonna do? And it just so happened I had the, Inez, and then he got dishonorably discharged and came back home, and it was just a series of, yeah, I'm going to rehab, no I'm not, relapse. And so when my daughter was 5 months old in 2007, he left. He ended up 5150. He, self-medicated so much that he was really talking nonsense and scary stuff. And so he 5150'd. And while he was there, he met a girl. There was also 5150. So yeah. When he got out, he did not come home. And so me and my baby went back home to live with my mom and got divorced, needless to say, and didn't really hear from him for a long time. Maybe once a year here and there, he would check in and then check out. And it's, really sad. Back in 2019, the beginning of the year, he reached out again and wanted, my daughter was what, 13,
Yeah.
13, and reconnected, even moved out here, got an apartment out here just down the street from us, took her to a father-daughter dance, like, just tried to reconnect with her, but still very much so an alcoholic. And he ended up passing August of that year due to liver damage. And so it didn't give my daughter much closure. She was able to see him and realize it had nothing to do with her.
Right.
Why he left, because growing up she was just like, do I have a dad? Where's my dad?
Yeah.
And telling her bits and pieces according to her age, I couldn't,
Right.
and so by the time he came into her life, she was able to understand, especially, me going through my PTSD and going through the VA and everything. So she knew mommy needs help. So she was able to kind of connect the dots that, okay, mommy gets help, but daddy doesn't get help. He just, so yeah, it was pretty rough
Yeah, I bet.
time.
That's a tough lesson for a kid to learn.
Yeah.
And experience it, especially at that age, man. I mean, poor girl.
Yeah. And then not that long after, so August, he passed. September, my mom got diagnosed with cancer.
Jeez.
She's just about ready to retire, just like one more year and she's going to retire. And then in November, my daughter's dog got sick. I know.
Jeez, Rose.
It was rough.
Damn.
And so, and
2019 did not like you
you
guys.
know, it
And then
did.
2020 rolled up.
No, yeah.
Pandemic happened.
And so that was Inez's first
Gosh.
experience at losing, her dog. And he was, one of our wiener dogs, our dachshunds. And just like, just sad. And then January, I turned 39 because I'm 40 now.
Yeah. About to be 41.
Yeah, I turned 39 on the 5th. My mom passed on the 8th. So it was really, in that whole year, 2020, the shittiest year of my life. And that, it's including Iraq, like even shittier than that, like the worst year of my life, losing my mom. Because she was the glue that held my family together. And her passing just broke us all up almost. It brought me and my older brother closer because, he felt like, okay, now he's this head of the house now. So he was my rock. He's the one person I could go to and I could talk to, where everybody else, I was like the enemy because my mom left me the house. And so it was like this ugly thing that happened with family that you think, oh, it's not going to happen to us, we're tight. But no, it still happened. It was an ugly thing.
It's rotten when that kind of shit comes between family.
Yeah.
It's rotten. It's always say things suck out loud. That is something that sucks out loud, man.
Yeah. It really is.
Rose, I remember you telling me a story once of an animal. I believe you told me an animal that you got real attached to when you were a kid. Does that ring a bell to you?
Yes. So my mom has always loved dachshunds, the wiener dogs. And when we were younger, I think I was about 12, 13. My mom got the first wiener dog, our first dachshund. And she named him Beaner.
Jesus Christ.
He was, a brown dog. And, she was always like, she was like, that's what they called me growing up. And so,
oh, man.
So she named him Beaner. And he was like the best dog. Like his bark was bigger than his bite. You thought he was like this big dog, but he was tough. And he lived 17 years. He was like the best dog. But I don't think my mom really thought, hindsight into the, future about his name, because he got out a couple of times. And so we had to walk. We had to walk around the block yelling out, Beaner!
That is my favorite story.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Damn, that would be a better name for the title for the show, but I don't think that'll fly.
I don't think that'll fly.
No.
I don't think that'll fly.
No.
Rose, we said no derogatory words.
That was not derogatory. Did not mean for it to be, but he was the best dog, like so protective. And and we're Mexican, so
yeah, no, I get you. Yeah.
My mom did not mean it in a negative way at all, but my mom was the best.
Yeah. No, I was like your mom too. I mean, I didn't have a ton of encounters with her, but like the some that I did.
I'm glad you got to meet her. Like that was awesome.
Yeah, especially with our time in Germany. I know, like while we were over there, like I was able to, we would talk on the phone, your mom and I, or when you were on the phone.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it was nice to finally be able to stop out in Hesperia
Yeah.
and see your family and you and
Yeah.
everything. But that's actually, I don't know if you realize, that was the last time we saw each other. That was like 2005
Yeah.
or 6. That was a long damn time
2005.
ago.
I was there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you were there.
You guys were going to Vegas.
Yeah.
Yeah. You could. Why didn't you come with us?
Because I wasn't invited.
Oh, you're right. You're right. That's on Tyree. He said no girls allowed.
Yeah.
He said
Hey, man.
dicks only.
Hey man, Las Vegas. What
Yeah.
happens? What
Yeah.
happens? On the way. there.
Hey, yeah, but you look back on that first trip to Vegas that we made, and we probably could have used some sound thought from a lady to keep us in line, because I suffered from that credit card debt for a while.
Really? Well,
Yes.
well, actually, I think I was married, but when you came that time.
Well, that explains that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I think
So
I
problem
was.
solved. No big deal.
Yeah, I think it was actually
Nice,
married
neat
when you
little
stopped
package.
by and
Yeah.
visited.
Okay,
Yeah.
so that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we hit all the major parts.
But
Life-
let's just say real quick though, like, life is going good for you now though, Rose?
I was just about to say.
Yeah. I am.
Inez is almost damn near grown, 15, right?
15. I know she's my life. I live for her. She's my rock. I live vicariously through her because now of the brain surgery, I'm all restricted. I can't go above 5,000 feet. For the longest time, my mom was like, you can't go swimming because if something happens.
Jeez.
But, well, because I ended up having seizures and
Yeah.
got diagnosed with epilepsy. But I haven't had a seizure since 2012. So I'm good there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I'm here. I'm living. And thinking about getting out of Cali, though.
Yeah,
I hear you.
1,000% agree. Now, Rose, Tyree and I have this agreement that if this podcast were to generate $1 million, he's going to move his ass to Arkansas.
Really, Arkansas?
Yeah.
Whoa! Why you say it like that?
Because
Well,
it's fucking Arkansas for one.
For two, suck my balls, sir.
But no, we figured it made sense. Like $1 million, we can, at that point you should probably be taking it serious.
Yeah.
And it's going to be better probably if we lived in the same town and if we weren't halfway across the country.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, you get $1 million, you could just have your own block with all your friends on the block. And
oh man, would that not be amazing?
Especially in Arkansas. You can purchase all kind of shit.
The blocks are cheap out here. They're cheap as fuck out here, man.
Yeah, I'll buy everything.
Yeah.
$1 million with $1 million, I'll buy Arkansas.
Yeah,
I'll buy the whole shit.
And we're well on our way because I think last time I checked, we somehow generated like $7.50. So
nice.
Oh yeah. Where they were getting there.
Yeah, hell yeah, man.
So wait, your followers donate money? Is that how that works?
No, so each episode has an ad on it, and
okay.
It's slightly monetized. It's not a lot at all.
Yeah,
but that's fine. Like we don't expect to actually ever hit a large amount of money or even something worth a shit. You know what I mean? Like it's just.
Well, never know. You honestly never know. Like the episodes are long, so I break it up.
Mm-hmm.
Usually when I'm driving, so that's when my daughter, I'm taking her to school and we're listening. Yeah, she laughs. She's just like, because I tell her, I give her a heads up, they're infantry.
Well, just let her know. I hope that she gets to hear this one because I don't know how much she knows of your time in the service.
No. I tell her.
Yeah. But or even stories that you and I have had, you know what I mean, or like hearing stories about you from my perspective or Tyree's perspective. So I really and that's kind of part of what we're doing here. I mean, that was the main reason we started doing this whole thing because Tyree wanted to leave something for his son Anthony.
Yeah.
So, really, really cool deal, man. And pretty cool that we got to kind of like briefly talk to her for earlier. It's wild to think, man, because shit, man, 15, like
I know.
it's wild.
It is. and
Hmm.
she's a trooper. She's she's tough.
Yeah. Well, we have to close it out. But Rose, it was amazing to talk with you again. I mean, I know we talk occasionally here and there, but
Yeah.
definitely great to catch up and be able to talk about this stuff. And we should probably do it more. You know what I
Yeah, well,
mean?
thank you. It was, I like listening to you guys, and I'm grateful to be a guest.
Yeah, for sure. And you're our first female, our first
Yeah.
woman, our first woman guest, our first lady guest.
Yeah, female.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's crazy as I talk to women here, and they're like, oh, "You can't call us female. That's apparently a derogatory term now."
Oh my gosh.
Right.
I won't even go there.
Yeah. So, female, woman, lady. I mean, you know what you are. Not a
Yeah.
dude.
Mm.
I don't know about a
not
lady, but
you had your moments. You had your
yeah.
moments. But yeah. So absolutely loved having you on, and I can't wait to talk with you more. Definitely need to keep up, man.
Yes.
Yeah,
I know
it's fun.
I
know
I suck at it, but yeah.
when you come out to Cali, it's just like, you're always somewhere close by. And I'm like, stop by. And then you're like, no, I can't
Yeah.
even leave base. I was
Yeah,
like,
the last time I was out there, we were confined to base. It was pretty terrible. But
Yeah.
but yeah, I guess Tyree, what do you think?
Sounds good.
Yeah.
I'm gonna shut this down. So hey, everyone, folks, thanks for listening to what will no doubt be our longest show. We had a lot of fun, got to catch up, got to learn a lot about each other.
yeah.
Resiliency,
Hell
you're
yeah.
gonna make it. You're gonna make it, no matter what.
Yeah.
You know what? And anything but failure is gonna be the name of this one.
Anything above failure, man. Stay in the fucking fight. Stay in the fight. That's what
Anything.
it's about.
That's all you got to do.
Yeah.
And we're gonna stay in this fight with this show, and we'll see you on the next one. Y'all have a good one.
You too. Love y'all guys.
All right. Bye.
Bye.